Bill Cipher isn't just a villain in a cartoon, he's a walking philosophy lesson. And understanding what he represents tells us something unsettling about reality itself. Most antagonists want power or revenge. Bill wants something stranger. He wants to break the rules that hold existence together, to prove that meaning is a joke we tell ourselves while the universe laughs. Let's examine what happens when a being transcends dimensional limitations and decides that chaos is the only honest response to a meaningless cosmos. Bill Cipher exists outside normal space and time. He's a two-dimensional being who escaped his flat universe by destroying it, ascending to a state where he can perceive and manipulate higher dimensions. This origin immediately sets him apart from typical villains. He didn't gain power through training or inheritance. He achieved it through an act of complete annihilation, burning his entire reality to access something beyond it. The implications are disturbing. Bill's power comes from rejecting every constraint, every rule, every structure that defined his existence. He looked at the fundamental architecture of his world and decided it was a prison worth destroying. This background reveals Bill's core philosophy. Reality itself is a cage. The laws of physics, the progression of time, the separation between dimensions, these aren't neutral facts about existence. They're limitations imposed on consciousness. Bill sees himself as liberated because he's broken free from these restrictions. He can move through time non-linearly, exist in multiple places simultaneously, manipulate matter and energy according to his whims rather than natural laws. From his perspective, he's achieved enlightenment. Everyone else is still trapped in prisons they don't even recognize as prisons. The show presents Bill as chaotic and random, but there's method beneath the madness. His behavior follows a consistent logic once you understand his worldview. He treats reality like a toy because he genuinely believes nothing has inherent meaning or value. When he turns people into furniture or rearranges faces on bodies, he's not being cruel for cruelty's sake. He's demonstrating that the forms things take are arbitrary. A human doesn't need to be shaped like a human. That's just convention. Bill breaks conventions to prove they never mattered. His famous line, "Reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram," buy gold, sounds like nonsense. But each part reveals his philosophy. Reality is an illusion because the stable, predictable world we perceive is just one interpretation among infinite possibilities. Matter isn't solid. It's mostly empty space with particles that exist in probability clouds until observed. The universe is a hologram in the sense that our three-dimensional experience might be a projection from information encoded in fewer dimensions. This isn't just cartoon villain rambling. These are legitimate concepts from theoretical physics that Bill understands and uses to justify his actions. Buy gold is the punchline that undercuts everything. Bill mixes profound cosmic truths with absurdist humor because he wants you to understand that even the deepest truths don't matter. You could comprehend the fundamental nature of reality and it wouldn't change anything. You'd still have mundane concerns, still need to think about money and survival. The cosmic and the trivial exist on the same level once you recognize that meaning is something minds create, not something inherent in the universe. Bill's relationship to deals and contracts reveals another layer of his philosophy. He's obsessed with making deals, with getting people to agree to his terms. Why does a nearly omnipotent being need permission? He could take what he wants through force. But Bill insists on deals, because he's proving a point about free will and choice. When someone shakes his hand and agrees to his terms, they're choosing their own destruction. They're complicit in what happens to them. Bill doesn't just want to hurt people. He wants them to understand they hurt themselves by making choices based on desires and fears rather than clear thinking. Every deal Bill makes exploits human weakness. He offers what people want most, their deepest desires, packaged in seemingly reasonable terms. Then he reveals the cost was always higher than they understood. This isn't deception in the traditional sense. Bill tells the truth. His contracts are binding because they are agreed upon. The problem is that humans make decisions based on emotion rather than logic. They see what they want and ignore the obvious warning signs. Bill's deals prove his point. People are irrational creatures who doom themselves through their own choices. The Weird Mageddon event demonstrates Bill's ultimate goal. He doesn't want to rule Gravity Falls or even Earth. He wants to spread chaos across all dimensions, breaking down the barriers between realities until everything blends into surreal nightmare logic. During Weird Mageddon, the sky bleeds, time becomes non-linear, physical laws stop functioning consistently. This is Bill's ideal state, a universe where nothing is fixed, where every moment contains infinite possibilities, where the very concept of order has been exposed as the lie he always knew it was. But here's what makes Bill philosophically complex rather than just destructive. He's not wrong about everything he says. Reality at the quantum level does behave in ways that violate our intuitions about how things should work. Particles do exist in multiple states until observed. Time might not flow in just one direction at the deepest levels of physics. The universe might not have inherent meaning beyond what conscious beings project onto it. Bill takes accurate observations about reality's strange nature and uses them to justify chaos and destruction. He's a nihilist who's technically correct about meaninglessness, but draws the worst possible conclusions from that correctness. His appearance as a triangle with one eye is symbolically loaded. Triangles represent stability in geometry, the strongest shape, yet Bill uses this form to embody instability. The single eye suggests both enlightenment, seeing what others can't, and limitation, perceiving reality from only one perspective, despite his claims of omniscience. He's simultaneously a symbol of illumination and blindness. The eye in the triangle echoes conspiracy imagery, secret knowledge, hidden powers that control reality from behind the scenes. Bill embodies these concepts literally. He does have secret knowledge. He can control reality in ways that seem magical, but follow their own consistent rules. Bill's interactions with other characters show how his philosophy affects practical relationships. He has no genuine friendships because he sees other beings as either useful tools or entertaining toys. When he assembles his gang of nightmare creatures during Weirdmageddon, he's not building a community, he's gathering weapons and amusements. The moment any of them stops being useful or entertaining, Bill discards them without hesitation. This total lack of meaningful connection isn't a personality flaw from his perspective. It's consistency with his worldview. If nothing matters, then relationships don't matter. Loyalty, trust, compassion, these are weaknesses that limit your options. Yet Bill seems lonely. He throws parties during Weirdmageddon, surrounds himself with chaos and creatures, constantly seeks attention and entertainment. Someone truly comfortable with meaninglessness wouldn't need external validation or stimulation. They'd be content existing in whatever state they found themselves. Bill's hyperactivity and constant need for new games, new deals, new chaos suggests he's running from something. Perhaps the silence of a universe that really doesn't care. Perhaps the memory of the dimension he destroyed. Perhaps the understanding that even his liberation is just another form of existence with its own limitations. The show hints that Bill's original dimension was destroyed by his own actions. He talks about freeing his dimension, about showing them the truth, but the result was total annihilation. This backstory reframes everything. Bill isn't spreading chaos because he's evil or insane. He's spreading chaos because he destroyed his entire world and everyone in it, and his current philosophy is how he's rationalized that genocide. If reality is an illusion and nothing matters, then destroying a dimension isn't murder, it's liberation. Everyone he killed wasn't killed. They were freed from the prison of ordered existence. This is how Bill lives with what he's done. But trauma disguised as philosophy is still trauma. Bill's rejection of meaning looks less like enlightenment and more like a defense mechanism when you consider his origin. He can't admit that destroying his dimension was wrong because that would require acknowledging that things can be wrong, that actions have moral weight, that meaning exists. His entire worldview is constructed to justify the worst thing he's ever done. This makes him more tragic than purely evil. He's trapped in a philosophy he can't escape because escaping it would mean confronting unbearable guilt. His obsession with entering and controlling the physical dimension reveals another contradiction in his philosophy. If all dimensions are equally meaningless, why does Bill care so much about accessing the physical world? Why does he need to spread Weirdmageddon beyond Gravity Falls? Someone truly indifferent to meaning wouldn't be so goal-oriented. Bill's desperate need to break into new dimensions and reshape them suggests he's not as free from desire and purpose as he claims. He needs to prove his philosophy correct by forcing every reality to conform to chaos. This need undermines his claims of transcendent indifference. The barrier around Gravity Falls that prevents Bill from leaving without a physical form demonstrates important limits to his power. He's immensely powerful within certain constraints. but still bound by rules he can't break. He needs permission, needs deals, needs specific conditions met before he can act. These limitations frustrate him visibly. He rages against them, works constantly to circumvent them. A being who truly accepted the meaninglessness of rules wouldn't be so bothered by being bound by rules. Bill's frustration shows he hasn't transcended structure. He's just moved to a different structure with different limitations. Bill's treatment of Ford Pines reveals his philosophy applied to manipulation. He befriended Ford, offered him knowledge and purpose, made him feel special and understood. Then he betrayed him completely once Ford was no longer useful. But Bill didn't see this as betrayal. From his perspective, he offered Ford exactly what he promised: cosmic knowledge, access to other dimensions, significance beyond normal human experience. The fact that it destroyed Ford's life and relationships wasn't deception. It was Ford's failure to understand the real cost of what he was asking for. Bill gave Ford truth. Ford just didn't like what truth entailed. This raises questions about whether Bill is capable of genuine connection, or if his nature prevents it entirely. Did he ever care about Ford as more than a tool? The show suggests maybe briefly, in whatever limited way Bill can care about anything. He seemed genuinely disappointed when Ford turned against him. Not sad, but disappointed, like watching a promising student fail. This hints at capacity for something beyond pure manipulation, though Bill would never admit it. Admitting he cared would contradict his philosophy that nothing matters. The contrast between Bill and the Pines family highlights competing philosophies about meaning and purpose. The Pines create meaning through relationships, through choosing to care about each other despite difficulties. They're not under any cosmic obligation to love each other. They choose to, and that choice creates genuine meaning in their lives. Bill sees this as delusion, weakness, irrational attachment. But the Pines family's bonds prove stronger than Bill's power because meaning created through choice and maintained through effort has its own kind of strength. Not cosmic, not objective, but real in the ways that matter for living. Bill ultimately loses because he can't understand why the Pines won't betray each other. He's counting on selfishness, on everyone prioritizing their own survival over loyalty to others. When they don't, when they choose sacrifice and cooperation, his plans fall apart. His philosophy can't account for people genuinely valuing relationships more than individual benefit. This isn't because his logic is flawed. Logically, self-preservation should override loyalty, but humans aren't purely logical. They create meanings and values that override pure self-interest, and those created meanings have real power. The memory gun that ultimately defeats Bill represents fighting philosophy with philosophy, erasing memories, erasing identity, erasing the self to save others. It's a profound sacrifice that Bill never anticipated, because he can't imagine truly giving up yourself for someone else. His defeat comes not from superior power, but from encountering a form of meaning he doesn't comprehend. Love, loyalty, sacrifice. These aren't logical within his framework. They're illogical, irrational, meaningless. Yet they are what beat him. The universe might not care, but people caring about each other creates power that pure chaos can't overcome. Bill's final fate, trapped in stone mid-scream, is philosophically appropriate. He's frozen in eternal rage, unable to move, unable to act, unable to spread chaos. The being who valued freedom above all else is imprisoned in the most absolute way possible. Whether this is permanent or temporary remains ambiguous, but the symbolism is clear. His rejection of all limits led to the ultimate limitation. His philosophy of infinite freedom resulted in zero freedom. This could be read as cosmic justice or simply irony. Either way, it suggests that total rejection of structure eventually collapses into its opposite. Bill's story connects directly to broader questions about chaos, order, and whether reality needs structure to function. His existence challenges assumptions most people hold about how universes should operate. We assume physical laws, moral principles, and logical consistency make reality stable and comprehensible. Bill represents the opposite position. Reality doesn't need these things. They're just patterns that happen to exist in some dimensions, but not others. His dimension had no structure until structure destroyed it, suggesting that chaos might be a more natural state than order. The philosophical tension between chaos and order runs through human history. Ancient Greek philosophers debated whether the universe was fundamentally orderly or chaotic. Religious traditions generally claim order, arguing that divine intelligence structures reality according to plan. Science assumes order, searching for laws that govern phenomena consistently. But what if these assumptions reflect human psychological needs rather than cosmic truth? Humans need predictability to survive. We evolved in environments where recognizing patterns meant staying alive. This evolutionary history might bias us toward seeing order even where none exists, toward imposing structure on chaos because we can't psychologically handle pure randomness. Bill sees human attachment to order as species-specific limitation rather than insight into reality's nature. From his perspective, humans are like fish trying to understand existence but unable to imagine anything beyond water. They think water is fundamental to reality because it's fundamental to their experience. Similarly, humans think order is fundamental to reality because their minds are structured to perceive and create order. But step outside human consciousness, outside human dimensional existence, and you find chaos is perfectly viable. Universes can function without physical laws remaining constant. Dimensions can exist where contradictions are simultaneously true. Reality doesn't collapse into nothingness without structure, it just operates differently. This philosophical position threatens human meaning-making at its foundation. If order isn't necessary, then all our attempts to find patterns, discover laws, and create systems are just species-specific behaviors with no cosmic validity. Science isn't discovering truth about reality, it's discovering truth about how reality appears to beings with our particular cognitive architecture in dimensions with our particular physical laws. Math isn't universal language, it's human language that happens to describe our local dimensional neighborhood accurately. The terror of Bill's worldview is that it makes human understanding fundamentally limited and potentially irrelevant to most of existence. Ford's transformation from believer to opponent mirrors humanity's historical relationship with chaos. Ancient cultures personified chaos as gods or demons that threatened cosmic order. Order was good, chaos was evil, and the battle between them structured mythology and religion. As societies developed, order became associated with civilization, progress, and human flourishing. Chaos became something to eliminate, control, or at least contain. This narrative assumes order's superiority is obvious and natural. Bill's perspective inverts this completely. Order isn't superior, it's just different, and in many ways more limiting than chaos. The structures humans celebrate as achievements are actually restrictions that prevent experiencing reality's full range. When Ford first encountered Bill's ideas, they felt liberating. His scientific work had always pushed against established limits. He wanted to discover things others couldn't see, go places others couldn't reach, understand what others dismissed as impossible. Traditional science told him to work within known frameworks, accept certain limitations as absolute, respect boundaries between disciplines. Bill offered an alternative. Ignore the boundaries, they're not real anyway. Push past every limit because limits are just mental constructs that can be overcome with sufficient knowledge and will. This message resonated with Ford's ambitions and validated his desire to transcend ordinary human understanding. The seduction worked because it contained truth mixed with danger. Ford really was limited by conventional thinking. Scientific consensus really does sometimes hold back discovery. Boundaries between possible and impossible really are more flexible than most people believe. Bill's philosophy amplified these truths while hiding their costs. Yes, you can transcend normal limits, but transcending limits means losing the stability those limits provide. Yes, conventional thinking restricts you, but those restrictions also protect you from concepts that damage human psychology. Yes, boundaries are flexible, but some boundaries exist for reasons you won't understand until you've already crossed them and can't return. Ford's realization that he'd been manipulated came gradually. Bill never technically lied, but he presented partial truths in ways that led Ford to false conclusions. When Ford discovered the portal he was building would allow Bill to enter and reshape their dimension, he understood the real plan. Bill didn't want to help Ford achieve scientific glory. Bill wanted to use Ford's genius to escape his dimensional prison and spread chaos into new territory. Ford's ambitions were always secondary to Bill's agenda. The partnership Ford thought he had was actually servitude he didn't recognize. This moment of realization represents philosophical awakening. Ford had to confront that his intellectual pride made him vulnerable to manipulation. He wanted so badly to be special, to be the one who discovered ultimate secrets. that he ignored warning signs and rationalized concerning behavior. His intelligence, which he'd always relied on, failed to protect him from being used. Worse, his intelligence made him a more effective tool for Bill's purposes. A less brilliant person couldn't have built the portal. Ford's genius was exactly what Bill needed. This created profound humiliation. Ford had to accept that his greatest strength was exploited to serve someone else's goals. The psychological impact of this betrayal shaped Ford's character for decades. He spent 30 years in other dimensions trying to find ways to permanently stop Bill, to prevent the portal from ever activating, to protect his family and dimension from the chaos entity he'd nearly unleashed. This quest became his identity. He wasn't just Ford anymore. He was the man who almost destroyed everything, and now had to prevent that destruction at any cost. The guilt drove him to isolation, to cutting off contact with family, to prioritizing the mission above all relationships and personal needs. Stanley's role in the story provides counterpoint to Ford's intellectual approach. Stan isn't brilliant or educated. He didn't understand the portal's mechanics or the dimensional theory behind Bill's existence. But Stan understood people in ways Ford never did. He recognized manipulation, spotted lies, and trusted emotional intuition over abstract reasoning. When Ford returned and explained the danger, Stan's response came from love and loyalty rather than philosophical understanding. He didn't need to comprehend Bill's nature to know that protecting family mattered more than anything else. This emotional clarity proved more effective than Ford's intellectual complexity. The conflict between the twins mirrors the larger philosophical themes. Ford represents the life of the mind, pursuing knowledge and understanding even when that pursuit becomes dangerous. Stan represents the life of connection, maintaining relationships even when they're difficult or painful. Ford's path led him to brilliant discoveries and terrible isolation. Stan's path led him to modest achievements and strong bonds. The show asks which approach produces better outcomes, which kind of life is actually worth living. Ford gained knowledge that made him miserable. Stan maintained ignorance that allowed him to stay connected to people he loved. Bill's interest in both twins reveals something about his own psychology. He targeted Ford because Ford's intelligence made him useful. But Bill seemed genuinely curious about Stan, the brother who defeated him through sacrifice rather than strategy. Bill's final moments show him trying to make a deal with Stan, offering anything if Stan will shake his hand and let Bill escape from his mind. Stan refuses, accepting memory erasure and identity loss to keep Bill trapped. This sacrifice operates on logic Bill can't process. Why would anyone choose to lose themselves? Self-preservation is the most basic drive. Identity is all you have. Giving it up makes no sense. Stan's choice represents triumph of meaning over logic. Logically, Bill is right. Preserving yourself is rational. Sacrificing your identity is irrational. But Stan creates meaning through his choice that transcends rational calculation. He decides that protecting his family matters more than maintaining his memories or personality. This decision isn't rational in Bill's framework. It's super rational, operating on values Bill doesn't possess. The emotional bonds Stan has with his family create obligations that override self-interest. Bill can't understand these obligations because he's never formed genuine bonds. His relationships are all transactional, all ultimately about what he gains. The memory gun itself carries philosophical weight. It's a device that erases identity by erasing memory. This assumes identity is constructed from memory rather than being some essential, unchanging self. When Stan's memories are erased, is he still Stan? The show suggests yes and no. His personality traits remain. His emotional patterns persist, but the specific memories that made him who he was are gone. He's Stan, but also not Stan, the same person in some ways, and fundamentally different in others. This ambiguous answer reflects genuine philosophical disagreement about personal identity's nature. Stan's recovery process shows memory and identity as reconstructible through relationship. His family tells him stories about who he was, shows him evidence of his life, and helps him rebuild a sense of self from external sources. The new Stan isn't identical to the old Stan, but he's continuous enough that it counts as the same person for practical purposes. This suggests identity is more flexible and socially constructed than we usually believe. You are who you are partly because of your internal experience, but also partly because of how others recognize and relate to you. When Stan lost his memories, his family's memories of him preserved enough of his identity to allow reconstruction. Bill's defeat through self-sacrifice specifically challenges his philosophical framework. He lost because he encountered values he considers irrational, but that proves stronger than his chaos. The show doesn't claim Bill is wrong about reality's nature. It doesn't argue that objective meaning exists or that the universe cares about human values. Instead, it demonstrates that created meaning, chosen meaning, meaning sustained through relationship and sacrifice, has real power even if it lacks cosmic foundation. Bill is philosophically correct but practically defeated by philosophy he dismisses. This outcome suggests limits to pure rationality as life guide. Bill's logic is sound. His observations about meaninglessness are accurate. His rejection of arbitrary constraints is philosophically defensible, but living according to pure logic, treating all values as equally arbitrary, rejecting connection and commitment as irrational, produces existence that's powerful but empty. The Pines family's approach, creating meaning despite knowing it's constructed, maintaining bonds despite understanding they're temporary, choosing to care despite recognizing that caring is cosmically unjustified, produces lives that are limited but fulfilling. The series finale doesn't resolve these philosophical tensions. It doesn't declare one approach right and the other wrong. Bill isn't defeated because he's philosophically incorrect. He's defeated because the philosophy he embodies, while potentially true, proves insufficient for understanding all aspects of existence. Pure chaos meets chosen order and loses this particular battle. But the show leaves open whether chaos will eventually win, whether Bill will escape his prison, whether the meaningful connections the Pines family built will last, or eventually dissolve into the meaninglessness Bill claims is fundamental. Dipper and Mabel's development throughout the series shows them learning to navigate between these philosophical extremes. Dipper starts the summer craving order, trying to catalog and understand everything in the journal Ford left behind. He wants explanations, categories, rules that make sense of Gravity Falls weirdness. Mabel starts as pure chaos, embracing randomness and spontaneity without concern for consequences or logic. By the end, both have moved toward middle ground. Dipper learns that some mysteries don't need solving, that not everything has to make sense. Mabel learns that some structure and planning prevent disaster, that pure spontaneity can be destructive. Their character arcs suggest balance between order and chaos might be ideal. Not Bill's pure chaos, which destroys everything, and not rigid order, which prevents growth and discovery. Instead, structured flexibility, ordered chaos, the ability to create meaningful patterns while remaining open to disruption and change. This philosophical middle path acknowledges that humans need both stability and novelty, both predictability and surprise, both meaning and awareness that meaning is constructed. Living well requires holding contradictions without resolving them into false certainty. The summer ending with the twins returning home represents choosing limitation. They could have stayed in Gravity Falls, continued having adventures, kept encountering the weird and supernatural. Instead, they choose to return to normal life, to school and routine and the ordinary world. This choice isn't defeat or giving up. It's recognizing that extraordinary experiences need to be balanced with ordinary life, that you can't stay in chaos forever without losing yourself. The twins take lessons from their summer, but don't try to make every day match that intensity. They accept that life includes both adventure and routine, both discovery and repetition. Ford and Stan's decision to sail around the world together mirrors this theme. They're not retiring from adventure, they're pursuing it differently, combining Ford's curiosity about the unknown with Stan's focus on relationship. The boat trip represents compromise between their competing philosophies, between pure intellectual pursuit and pure emotional connection. They're exploring together, turning adventure into shared experience rather than solitary quest. This suggests that maybe the real answer to philosophical questions about meaning isn't found in logic or emotion alone, but in combining both through relationship. The show's treatment of memory reveals another layer to its philosophical exploration. Characters repeatedly face situations where memories are manipulated, erased, or proven unreliable. The Society of the Blind Eye erases townspeople's memories of supernatural events, supposedly protecting them from traumatic knowledge. But this erasure doesn't actually help. It just forces people to encounter the same truths repeatedly without learning or growing from them. Memory erasure prevents development rather than protecting well-being. When Dipper and Mabel discover this conspiracy, they face a choice about whether to erase their own. Memories of the summer's trauma and danger, they choose to keep their memories, accepting pain as part of meaningful experience. This decision reflects existentialist philosophy, the idea that authentic existence requires accepting suffering rather than fleeing into comfortable ignorance. McGuckett's story makes this point even more explicitly. He invented the memory gun to erase traumatic memories of things he saw while helping Ford build the portal. Each erasure made the next trauma harder to process, creating a cycle where he kept erasing more and more until he'd lost most of his identity. By trying to eliminate suffering, he eliminated himself. His eventual recovery requires accepting all his memories, good and bad, rebuilding identity from the full truth of his experience rather than from comfortable edited versions. The show suggests that memory, even painful memory, constitutes who we are. Editing out the bad parts doesn't create a better self, it creates an incomplete self. Ford's journals represent attempts to impose order on chaos through documentation and categorization. He catalogs creatures, documents patterns, tries to make sense of gravity falls through scientific method, but his journals prove insufficient. Reality keeps exceeding his categories. Creatures behave in ways his documentation doesn't predict. The portal he builds based on his research nearly destroys everything. Scientific understanding turns out to be necessary but insufficient for actually dealing with the weirdness he encounters. You need the knowledge in the journals, but you also need intuition, relationship, flexibility, things that can't be written down or systematized. Dipper's relationship to the journals mirrors Ford's approach. He treats them as instruction manuals for understanding everything in Gravity Falls. When the journals don't have answers, he feels lost. His growth involves learning to trust himself when the journals fail, to improvise when documentation proves incomplete. The journals give him foundation, but he has to build beyond that foundation through experience and relationship. This represents healthy relationship to knowledge, using what's documented while remaining open to what hasn't been captured yet. The show explores how different characters construct meaning in a chaotic universe. Stan builds meaning through family and loyalty. Everything he does, even his crimes and deceptions, serves the goal of protecting and reuniting his family. His meaning is relational rather than abstract. Ford builds meaning through discovery and understanding. He wants to know how reality works, to push boundaries of knowledge. His meaning is intellectual rather than emotional. Mabel builds meaning through connection and joy, creating happiness for herself and others through parties, crafts, relationships. Her meaning is experiential rather than theoretical. Dipper builds meaning through solving mysteries and proving himself capable. His meaning is achievement-based rather than inherent. None of these meaning construction strategies is presented as objectively correct. Each has strengths and weaknesses. Stan's focus on family makes him loyal, but also willing to harm strangers. Ford's focus on knowledge makes him brilliant, but also isolated. Mabel's focus on it. Happiness makes her optimistic, but sometimes naive about consequences. Dipper's focus on achievement makes him capable, but also anxious and never satisfied. The show suggests that meaning is personal and constructed, that different approaches work for different people, and that problems arise when you treat your meaning as universal truth rather than personal choice. Bill represents what happens when you reject all constructed meaning as equally false. If everything is illusion, if all meanings are arbitrary, then destruction and creation become equivalent. Bill doesn't build anything lasting because lasting implies meaning and value he's rejected. He just creates chaos for entertainment, treating existence as game without stakes. This makes him powerful but also fundamentally empty. He has no goals beyond immediate sensation. He forms no genuine connections because connection requires valuing something beyond yourself. His philosophy frees him from all constraints but also traps him in meaninglessness he can't escape even through endless power. The contrast between Bill and the Pines family shows two responses to meaninglessness. Bill accepts it fully and lives accordingly, treating everything as joke and nothing as important. The Pines family acknowledges meaninglessness philosophically, but rejects it practically by choosing to act as if things matter anyway. They know family bonds are temporary arrangements of atoms following physical laws. They choose to treat those bonds as sacred, despite knowing they're not cosmically significant. This conscious choice to create meaning, despite understanding its constructed nature, represents mature response to existential reality. Gravity Falls itself functions as liminal space between order and chaos, normal and weird, known and unknown. The town exists a boundary where reality becomes flexible, where impossible things happen regularly, but life continues relatively normally. Residents mostly ignore or forget the weirdness, going about ordinary routines while supernatural events occur around them. This mirrors how humans generally function, focusing on immediate practical concerns while ignoring larger philosophical questions about existence and meaning. The weirdness is always there, but acknowledging it constantly would make normal life impossible. The barrier around Gravity Falls that contains its weirdness represents necessary boundaries between different aspects of reality. You need spaces where chaos is possible, where rules bend, and strange things happen. But you also need spaces where order prevails, where you can count on consistency and predictability. The barrier keeps these spaces separate, preventing chaos from destroying everything while preventing order from calcifying into sterility. When Bill breaks the barrier during Weirdmageddon, chaos spreads beyond its proper bounds and starts destroying the normal world. Order and chaos need boundaries between them, not complete victory of either over the other. Weirdmageddon itself demonstrates what pure chaos actually means in practice. It's not freedom or possibility. It's terror and destruction. When all rules dissolve, when anything can happen at any moment, when physical laws become optional and reality shifts constantly, existence becomes nightmare rather than liberation. People turn to stone, buildings rearrange themselves, time flows wrong, and nobody can plan or predict or feel safe. Bill thinks he's offering freedom by destroying all constraints. He's actually creating hell by removing the structures that make meaningful existence possible. The resistance during Weirdmageddon shows humans creating order even in chaos. They establish safe zones, develop strategies, organize defenses, create new rules for surviving in impossible circumstances. When external order disappears, humans generate internal order to cope. This suggests order isn't just imposed from outside, but emerges from human need for pattern and predictability. We're order-creating creatures who can't function without some structure. Even minimal structure, we establish ourselves in structureless environments. Stan's sacrifice to defeat Bill represents choosing relationship over memory and identity. He allows his mind to be erased to trap Bill, trading his self for his family's safety. This is meaning creation through action rather than philosophy. Stan doesn't debate whether family is worth sacrificing for. He just acts according to values he's internalized so deeply that philosophical questions become irrelevant. His sacrifice suggests that genuine values aren't abstract principles you reason toward, but commitments you live so fully that you don't question them when stakes are highest. The fact that Stan's memory can be restored suggests identity isn't purely memory-based. When his family surrounds him with familiar objects, tells him stories, recreates context, his identity gradually returns. This implies self is relational rather than purely individual, that who you are exists partly in how others know you and what roles you fulfill in relationships. Stan becomes Stan again, through connection rather than through accessing locked memories. Identity reconstruction through relationships suggests that meaning and self are fundamentally social, rather than purely internal. Ford's relationship with Bill demonstrates how intellectual pride creates vulnerability. Ford believed he was special, chosen, destined for greatness. Bill exploited this belief, making Ford think their partnership was collaboration between equals rather than manipulation of fool by predator. Ford's intelligence didn't protect him because intelligence without wisdom or humility creates blind spots. He was too invested in being special to recognize when he was being used. His eventual recognition of his mistake requires accepting that being smart doesn't make you immune to deception, that intelligence alone isn't sufficient for good judgment. The show treats knowledge as double-edged throughout. The journals contain information that helps characters survive dangers, but also information that creates dangers by telling people how to activate portals and summon demons. Ford's research into Gravity Falls' weirdness produces insights that advance understanding, but also nearly destroys the world by opening dimensional rifts. Knowledge is necessary, but dangerous, useful, but requiring wisdom to apply properly. Characters who treat knowledge as purely good or purely bad make mistakes. Those who recognize knowledge as tool requiring judgment use it more effectively. Dipper's hero worship of Ford and eventual disillusionment follows classic pattern of idealization and reality. Dipper sees Ford as perfect, the person he wants to become, validation that being. Smart and curious leads to greatness. When he discovers Ford's mistakes and flaws, he initially feels betrayed. His growth involves accepting that admiring someone doesn't require seeing them as perfect, that flaws don't invalidate genuine achievements. Ford is brilliant and made terrible choices. Both things are true simultaneously. Accepting complexity in role models represents maturation beyond childish need for heroes without flaws. Mabel's arc involves learning that optimism requires boundaries. Her desire to make everyone happy and her belief that positivity solves problems leads her into traps repeatedly. Bill exploits her unwillingness to accept that the summer must end, offering her fantasy prison that looks like paradise. Her escape requires accepting loss and disappointment as inevitable parts of life, that growing up means leaving some things behind, that trying to preserve perfect moments forever traps you rather than freeing you. Mature optimism acknowledges difficulty while maintaining hope, rather than denying difficulty through forced positivity. The contrast between Dipper and Mabel represents different approaches to existence that need integration rather than victory of one over the other. Dipper wants to understand, plan, prepare, and control through knowledge. Mabel wants to experience, enjoy, connect, and embrace spontaneity. Both approaches have value, both have limitations. Dipper's planning prevents some disasters, but also prevents some joy. Mabel's spontaneity creates happiness, but also creates chaos. Their best moments come when they combine approaches. When Dipper's planning enables Mabel's spontaneity, or when Mabel's emotional intelligence guides Dipper's analytical efforts. The theme of growing up permeates the final episodes. Characters face choices about whether to cling to childhood or accept maturation. These aren't presented as simple binaries where childhood is bad and maturity is good. Instead, growing up means integrating childhood's openness and wonder with adults' capability and responsibility. Dipper and Mabel don't have to choose between adventure and normal life. They take lessons from adventure back to normal life, letting extraordinary experiences inform ordinary existence rather than replacing it. The Mystery Shack itself represents commercialization of wonder, turning genuine weirdness into tourist trap-selling fake experiences. Stan fills the shack with fabricated oddities while real supernatural events happen around him. This mirrors how modern culture packages and sells experiences, creating simulations of authenticity rather than authentic experiences themselves. But the shack also serves as home and gathering place for family, showing that commercial spaces can host genuine connection despite their primary purpose being profit. The shack's dual nature reflects how spaces and experiences can be simultaneously cynical and sincere. Suze represents pure goodness functioning in a complicated world. He's loyal, kind, helpful, and emotionally available without being naive or stupid. His character demonstrates that goodness isn't weakness or ignorance, but choice requiring strength. Suze sees the same chaos and difficulty everyone else sees. He chooses kindness anyway, not because he doesn't understand alternatives, but because he's decided kindness is how he wants to exist. His eventual inheritance of the Mystery Shack represents good people sometimes winning, not through manipulation or force, but through being consistently decent until opportunities arise. Wendy represents healthy boundaries and self-awareness. She knows who she is, what she wants, and how to maintain distance from drama while remaining available to friends who need her. Her rejection of Dipper's romantic interest is kind but firm, establishing that not all affection requires reciprocation, that you can care about someone without owing them the relationship they want. Her character models emotional maturity, showing how to be involved without being consumed, how to care without losing yourself. The gnomes, as first supernatural threat Dipper and Mabel encounter, establish pattern for how Gravity Falls handles weirdness. They're dangerous but also absurd, threatening but also comedic. This tonal balance continues throughout the series, treating supernatural danger seriously while acknowledging its inherent ridiculousness. Life or death stakes coexist with jokes, terror coexists with humor. This reflects actual human experience more accurately than pure drama or pure comedy would. Real people make jokes during crises. Real fear includes absurd elements. The show's tonal complexity mirrors life's tonal complexity. Time Baby and the Time Anomaly. Removal crew represent order taken to authoritarian extreme. They maintain timeline stability through force, erasing any deviation from approved history. Their rigid enforcement of temporal rules prevents chaos, but also prevents change and growth. When Bill destroys Time Baby, it's presented as both catastrophic and somehow liberating. Absolute order is better than absolute chaos, but still not ideal. The show suggests that healthy reality requires both stability and flexibility. Enforcement of some rules while allowing deviation from others. Grunkle stands fake death and real memory loss force family to confront mortality and loss, before ultimately reversing both. This pattern appears throughout the series, putting characters through genuine grief and trauma before providing resolution. The show doesn't shy away from pain, but also doesn't leave characters destroyed by it. They suffer, grow from suffering, and eventually find ways forward. This models resilience without denying difficulty, showing that healing is possible without pretending damage never occurred. Blendon Blandon represents bureaucratic mediocrity elevated to cosmic scale. He's a time traveler who hates his job, treats temporal mechanics as tedious paperwork, and resents anyone making his work harder. His incompetence creates problems that competent villains couldn't, demonstrating how systems fail not through malice, but through employees who don't care about their responsibilities. When Blendon eventually helps Bill during Weird Mageddon because he's angry about losing a game, it shows how petty grievances can have apocalyptic consequences when petty people have access to powerful systems. The show uses Blendon to explore how boring, resentful people in important positions create danger through apathy and spite, rather than through grand evil schemes. The Society of the Blind Eye represents communal forgetting as coping mechanism. Gravity Falls residents experienced so much weirdness that group formed specifically to erase memories of supernatural events, helping people return to normal lives unburdened by knowledge of impossible things. This raises questions about whether ignorance is mercy or cowardice, whether forgetting trauma is healing or avoidance. The Society's founder, Old Man McGucket, destroyed his own mind through repeated memory erasure, showing that forgetting doesn't eliminate damage, just awareness of damage. His eventual recovery of memories is painful but necessary for healing. You can't integrate experiences you don't remember. You can't grow from trauma you've erased. The show suggests that memory, even painful memory, is essential to identity and development. McGucket himself embodies intelligence destroyed by knowledge it couldn't handle. He was a brilliant inventor who saw things building the portal that broke his mind, leading him to found the Society of the Blind Eye to forget what he'd learned. His descent into madness wasn't caused by lack of intelligence, but by intelligence encountering things it couldn't process. When he eventually recovers his memories and sanity, he demonstrates that healing requires confronting what you've been avoiding. His reconciliation with his son shows that damaged people can repair relationships if they're willing to be vulnerable about their damage. McGucket's arc parallel stands in showing that it's never too late to change, that decades of dysfunction don't make redemption impossible. The Shapeshifter represents identity as fluid and terrifying. Locked in bunker by author, it can become anyone it's seen, perfectly mimicking appearance and behavior. Its existence raises questions about what makes someone themselves if appearance and behavior can be perfectly replicated. When it impersonates Dipper to fight actual Dipper, the confrontation becomes about which one is real, when both are identical. The show resolves this by having Mabel identify true Dipper through relationship knowledge that Shapeshifter lacks, suggesting that identity is partly constituted by connections and history, rather than just present characteristics. You are who you are, partly because of who knows you and how they know you. The bunker itself represents paranoia justified by reality. The author built it to hide from Bill, filling it with supplies, weapons, and security measures that seem excessive until you learn what he was hiding from. His paranoia wasn't mental illness, but appropriate response to genuine threat. This validates characters who seem irrationally afraid when their fear is based on knowledge others lack. The show repeatedly demonstrates that what appears paranoid from outside perspective makes perfect sense once you understand what someone knows. Dismissing legitimate concerns as paranoia is a mistake made by characters who don't have full information. Northwest Family represents inherited power and inherited guilt. Pacifica's parents are terrible people who've maintained wealth and status, Through exploitation and manipulation spanning generations, Pacifica herself is initially awful because she's been trained to be awful, taught that her family's superiority justifies any behavior. Her gradual realization that her family is wrong and that their status doesn't make them better represents breaking cycles of inherited behavior. When she defies her parents to help save the town, she's choosing who she wants to be over who she was raised to be. The show treats this choice as difficult and significant, acknowledging that rejecting family values requires courage even when those values are clearly wrong. The Northwest Manor ghost represents justice delayed across generations. Ghost Lumberjack was betrayed by Northwest ancestor who promised party invitation, then broke that promise. Ghost Curse affects current Northwests, even though they weren't personally responsible for original betrayal, raising questions about inherited guilt and whether descendants bear responsibility for ancestors' actions. The show doesn't fully resolve this philosophical question, but demonstrates that current Northwest benefit from ancestors' exploitation, suggesting some obligation to address historical wrongs even if you didn't personally commit them. When Pacifica opens the party to everyone, breaking the curse, it shows that acknowledging past injustice and making material changes in present can address inherited guilt. The Blind Eye Society's memory gun represents temptation to erase painful knowledge. Anyone can use it to forget anything, making it metaphor for all methods people use to avoid processing difficult experiences. The gun's ease of use makes it dangerous. You can erase memories instantly, but you can't control what else you lose in the process. McGucket erased specific memories, but lost general cognitive function, showing that targeted forgetting affects broader mental capacity. The Society's mass memory erasure of the town represents collective denial of reality, everyone agreeing to forget things that are true because truth is uncomfortable. When society is destroyed and gun is broken, it forces characters to live with what they know, rather than escaping into ignorance. Dipper's attraction to Wendy represents desire for maturity and belonging. He's drawn to her partly because she seems to have figured out things he's still struggling with. She's confident, socially capable, and comfortable with herself in ways he isn't. His crush is partly about wanting to be like her, wanting access to the teenage world she inhabits that seems more interesting than his current existence. When she gently rejects him, explaining age difference matters at their ages, it's one of the show's most emotionally honest moments. She doesn't mock him or dismiss his feelings. She acknowledges them while explaining why they can't be reciprocated. Her kindness and rejection models how to say no with compassion, how to maintain friendship while establishing boundaries. Mabel's various crushes and relationships represent experimentation with identity through romance. She tries on different versions of herself with different boys, testing what kind of person she wants to be in romantic contexts. Her relationship with Mermando the Merman is impossible by definition, representing safe romance that can't actually go anywhere, allowing her to have feelings without risking real vulnerability. Her crush on various boys throughout summer shows her trying to figure out what she actually wants versus what she thinks she should want. The show treats her romantic confusion as a normal part of development rather than character flaw, showing that not knowing what you want is fine when you're 12. Stan's relationship with Lazy Susan represents companionship between damaged people who've given up on finding perfect partners. They're both old, both flawed, both past point of pretending to be something they're not. Their potential relationship is based on accepting each other as they actually are, rather than as idealized versions. When Stan can't quite commit to relationship with her, it shows how past damage affects present opportunities. He's been alone so long that connection feels threatening even when he wants it. The show treats this ambivalence sympathetically, acknowledging that wanting relationship and being ready for relationship are different things. Suze's relationship with Melody develops naturally through shared interests and genuine compatibility. They bond over arcade games and nerd culture, building friendship that becomes romance without drama or complication. Their relationship represents healthy development, showing that not all romance requires conflict or misunderstanding. Sometimes people just like each other, and that's sufficient foundation for relationship. Seuss's happiness with Melody contrasts with other characters' romantic struggles, demonstrating that some people find connection more easily because they're emotionally healthier and have more realistic expectations. The Love God's love potion represents forced attraction as violation. When he uses potion to make people fall in love, it removes consent and agency. turning genuine emotion into chemical compulsion. The show treats this as wrong even when results seem positive, establishing that manipulating someone's feelings is violation regardless of outcome. When effects eventually wear off, it raises questions about whether any of the relationship was real or whether it was entirely artificial. The episode suggests that manufactured feelings can't create genuine connection, that real relationships require choice and authentic emotion rather than external force. Candy and Grenda represent friendship as chosen family. They're Mabel's best friends, supporting her through various crises and adventures. Their loyalty is unconditional, accepting Mabel completely, including her flaws and strange interests. When they briefly fight over Boy, it threatens their friendship, showing how romantic interest can damage platonic relationships. Their reconciliation establishes that their friendship matters more than potential romance, modeling how to prioritize important relationships over temporary attractions. The show treats female friendship as valuable in itself, rather than as secondary to romantic relationships. Robbie represents adolescent angst taken seriously. He's moody, difficult, and self-absorbed in ways typical of teenagers, but show doesn't mock him for these traits. His relationship with Wendy is genuine, even though it doesn't work out. His anger at Dipper comes from real insecurity rather than pure villainy. When it's revealed he used hypnotic messages in song to make Wendy like him, it explains relationship's failure. It was based on manipulation rather than genuine connection, so it couldn't survive once manipulation was removed. His eventual acceptance of breakup and move toward new relationship shows growth, demonstrating that teenage drama isn't permanent state but phase people grow through. Gideon represents evil emerging from an indulgence and entitlement. He's a child who was given too much power too early, told he was special until he believed he deserved whatever he wanted. His obsession with Mabel stems from inability to accept that someone might not want him. He's been told yes so many times that no seems impossible. His willingness to destroy anything preventing him from getting what he wants shows how entitlement becomes dangerous when combined with capability. Young, cute, and evil, Gideon demonstrates that harm isn't limited to obviously threatening people. Sometimes worse danger comes from those who seem harmless because their appearance grants them access and trust they abuse. Gideon's relationship with his father represents failure of parental boundaries. Bud Gleeful is afraid of his own son, unable to set limits or consequences. This inverted power dynamic allows Gideon to act without restraint, using his father's business and resources for his own schemes. When Gideon is finally imprisoned, it's partly relief for Bud, who regains control of his own life. The show suggests that parents who can't say no to children aren't being kind, they're being neglectful. Children need boundaries to develop properly. Without them, they become monsters of their own desires. The journals represent knowledge as burden and weapon. They contain information about Gravity Falls weirdness, written by author who spent years studying the town's supernatural elements. Possessing journals grants power, but also danger, making Holder target for those who want that knowledge. Dipper's relationship with Journal 3 parallels his development across summer. Initially, he uses it as instruction manual for understanding weirdness. Eventually, he realizes that lived experience matters more than written knowledge, that journal is guide rather than gospel. His willingness to destroy journals to prevent Bill from getting them shows that some knowledge is too dangerous to preserve, that safety sometimes requires accepting ignorance. The author's identity as Stanford Pines, Stan's twin brother, recontextualizes entire series. Everything Stan did was motivated by trying to bring his brother back from Dimension. Stan accidentally trapped him in decades ago. The fake identity, the tourist trap, the secrets, all served single purpose of reuniting with Ford. This revelation transforms Stan from conman into tragic figure, whose greatest crime was loving his brother enough to spend 30 years trying to save him. When brothers finally reunite, their relationship is immediately complicated by decades of separation and unresolved childhood conflicts. They're strangers who used to be close, trying to rebuild connection across 30 years of absence. Ford represents intelligence without wisdom. He's a brilliant scientist who made catastrophic mistakes because he valued knowledge over caution. His deal with Bill, made when Ford was younger and more arrogant, gave Demon access to physical world in exchange for knowledge Ford craved. This Faustian bargain nearly destroyed reality, showing that pursuing knowledge without considering consequences leads to disaster. Ford's assumption that his intelligence made him special and protected him from normal rules allowed Bill to manipulate him. His eventual acceptance that he needs help, that intelligence alone isn't sufficient, represents growth from arrogance to humility. The portal between dimensions represents risk and responsibility. Stan built it to bring Ford home, spending decades teaching himself physics and engineering despite lacking formal education. His success demonstrates dedication and motivation can overcome lack of training, that love drives people to achieve impossible things, but Portal's activation risks destroying universe if something goes wrong. Stan chooses to risk everything for his brother, deciding that Ford's life matters more than potential cosmic consequences. This selfish decision could have killed everyone, raising questions about whether personal loyalty justifies endangering others. Show doesn't fully condemn Stan's choice, but doesn't fully endorse it either, leaving moral ambiguity unresolved. Brother's childhood explains their adult dysfunction. They were close as children, dreaming of sailing around world together, but their relationship was poisoned by father's favoritism and impossible expectations. Ford was smart one, Stan was failure. This dynamic created resentment and insecurity that persisted into adulthood. When Stan accidentally destroyed Ford's chance at prestigious university, it shattered their relationship and their dreams. Stan's subsequent decades of failure and Ford's decades of isolated research both stem from this childhood trauma. Their eventual reconciliation requires addressing these old wounds, acknowledging how their father's treatment damaged them both. The zodiac wheel represents destiny and choice. Bill can be defeated if 10 people representing symbols stand in circle and hold hands. This prophecy suggests predetermined roles and fated victory, but also requires voluntary cooperation. Destiny exists but must be chosen. When attempt fails because Stan and Ford are too angry at each other to hold hands, it shows that prophecy can fail through human weakness. Predetermined victory isn't guaranteed if people can't overcome their personal conflicts for greater good. Their inability to cooperate at crucial moment nearly causes apocalypse, demonstrating how individual dysfunction affects collective outcomes. Bill's final defeat requires sacrifice that reveals Show's ultimate position on meaning and value. When Zodiac fails and Bill seems unstoppable, Stan proposes a desperate plan. He'll pretend to be Ford, let Bill enter his mind thinking he's getting Ford's knowledge, then Ford will erase Stan's memory to trap Bill in Mindscape that gets destroyed with those memories. This plan works, but costs Stan everything. He loses all memories, becoming blank slate who doesn't recognize his family or remember his life. The sacrifice is total. Stan gave up his identity, his relationships, his entire existence as Stan Pines to save world. This act contradicts nihilistic philosophy completely. Stan chose to value others over himself, to sacrifice everything for people and world he loved. His choice demonstrates that meaning can be created through action, that significance emerges from what we choose to protect and what we're willing to lose. Stan's memory loss and eventual recovery explores identity and what makes person who they are. Without memories, is Stan still Stan? Family shows him scrapbook documenting his life, trying to restore his sense of self through external evidence of who he was. Gradually, fragments return. Emotions and instincts persist even when specific memories don't. He feels affection for Mabel before remembering why. His personality remains intact even as biographical. Details stay lost. This suggests identity exists at multiple levels, that who you are isn't purely sum of what you remember. Core self persists beneath memories, though memories give that self context and history. Show implies that relationships help constitute identity, that we're partly defined by our connections to others. Family's love for Stan helps him recover because they reflect back to him who he is. Recovery isn't complete by series end. Stan remembers most things, but some memories remain lost. He's not quite the same person he was before sacrifice, but he's recognizably Stan. This partial recovery suggests that some losses are permanent, that heroic sacrifice has real costs that don't get magically erased. Stan saved world, but paid price that persists. His willingness to pay that price anyway makes sacrifice meaningful rather than transactional. He didn't sacrifice himself believing he'd be restored. He did it knowing he might lose everything forever. Ford's character arc completes through accepting responsibility and repairing relationship with Stan. He spent decades isolated, trusting only himself, believing his intelligence made him superior. His journey requires learning humility, admitting mistakes, and recognizing that connection matters more than achievement. When Stan loses memories, saving world from threat Ford created, Ford experiences devastating guilt. His arrogance and poor judgment decades ago set events in motion that required Stan's sacrifice. Ford's response is to dedicate himself to helping Stan recover, putting Stan's needs before his own desires for first time. Brothers' reconciliation happens gradually through series of small moments, rather than single dramatic scene. They work together to defeat Bill. They support each other through aftermath. They decide to fulfill childhood dream of sailing around world together, choosing relationship over individual pursuits. This resolution suggests that redemption is possible, that damaged relationships can heal through sustained effort and genuine change. Show's ending focuses on growth and change, rather than returning to status quo. Dipper and Mabel return home to California, but they're not same kids who arrived in Gravity Falls. They've faced real danger, made hard choices, learned about themselves and each other. Summer changed them permanently. Show suggests this is positive, that growth requires leaving comfort zones and confronting challenges. Dipper's final choice demonstrates his character development clearly. Throughout summer, he's wanted to stay in Gravity Falls with Stan and Ford, to continue adventures and investigations. When Ford offers Dipper apprenticeship that would let him stay, Dipper is tempted. This is everything he's wanted, chance to pursue mysteries and learning with someone who takes him seriously. But Dipper chooses to return home with Mabel instead. He recognizes that his relationship with his sister matters more than his intellectual pursuits, that some things are more important than knowledge or achievement. This choice mirrors Ford learning similar lesson, showing Dipper won't repeat Ford's mistakes of prioritizing ambition over relationships. Mabel's arc is subtler but equally important. She begins summer as a relentlessly optimistic person who avoids difficult emotions through distraction and fantasy. Her experiences, particularly her deal with Bill that nearly ended world, force her to confront harder aspects of reality. She learns that growing up doesn't mean losing joy or creativity, that maturity can coexist with wonder. Her final act of releasing Waddles the pig if that's what's best for him, then learning she can keep him after all, symbolizes her growth. She's willing to sacrifice what she loves if that's right thing, but universe rewards that willingness by letting her keep him. This feels earned rather than convenient because her willingness to let go was genuine. Supporting characters' endings reinforce themes about community and belonging. Suze becomes new Mr. Mystery, inheriting Stan's role as proprietor of Tourist Trap. This represents working-class person, achieving ownership and success through loyalty and hard work, rather than credentials or privilege. Wendy prepares to face her own future, acknowledging that she'll eventually leave Gravity Falls, but isn't ready yet. Each character's ending feels appropriate to their journey, suggesting Show values character-specific resolutions over formula. Show's approach to mystery and revelation demonstrates philosophy about knowledge and understanding. Throughout series, Gravity Falls is full of mysteries that characters investigate and often solve. But not every mystery gets explained. Some weirdness remains unexplained, some questions stay unanswered. This reflects reality where understanding is always partial, where some things remain mysterious no matter how much you investigate. Show suggests that accepting uncertainty is part of wisdom, that you can't know everything and that's okay. Journal itself represents pursuit of knowledge and its limits. Ford created journals to document Gravity Falls' weirdness, trying to understand and categorize everything strange he encountered. But his documentation became dangerous when Bill could exploit that knowledge. Information is powerful but not neutral. How you use knowledge matters as much as having it. Show suggests that wisdom involves knowing when to seek knowledge and when to leave mysteries alone, when to share information and when to protect it. Gravity Falls' treatment of childhood and growing up avoids nostalgia while acknowledging genuine loss. Show doesn't pretend childhood is perfect or that growing up is purely negative. Instead, it presents both as complicated. Childhood includes wonder and imagination, but also powerlessness and confusion. Adulthood includes freedom and capability, but also responsibility and disillusionment. Dipper and Mabel's journey toward adolescence involves gaining some things while losing others. Show suggests this trade is inevitable and ultimately worthwhile, even though losses are real and worth mourning. Final episode's title, Weird Mageddon, Part 3, Take Back the Falls, emphasizes community action over individual heroism. Defeating Bill requires everyone working together, each person contributing what they can. Stan makes ultimate sacrifice, but he couldn't have reached that position without others fighting to create opportunity. Ford's knowledge, Dipper's planning, Mabel's heart, Suze's loyalty, all matter. Victory is collective achievement, not single hero-saving day. This reinforces Show's theme that connection and cooperation matter more than individual brilliance or strength. Show's use of codes, ciphers, and hidden messages throughout episodes created active viewer community dedicated to solving puzzles. This transformed passive watching into participatory experience, where fans work together to decode secrets. Community that formed around Show mirrored Show's themes about collaboration and shared purpose. Fans created meaning together through collective investigation, exactly as characters did. This meta-level engagement demonstrated Show's philosophy in action, proving that meaning emerges through what we choose to value and pursue together. Gravity Falls' relationship to other mysteries in fiction, particularly Twin Peaks, reveals how it updated mystery genre for younger audience while maintaining sophistication. Both shows feature small towns with dark secrets, supernatural threats, and characters investigating weirdness. But Gravity Falls makes mystery accessible to children while respecting their intelligence, proving complex storytelling doesn't require adult content or cynicism. Show demonstrates you can explore serious themes through fantasy and humor, that accessibility and depth aren't opposed. Show's art style and animation support its thematic content through careful visual design. Characters have simple, appealing designs that allow for strong emotional expression. Backgrounds are detailed and full of hidden jokes and references that reward careful viewing. Monster designs are creative and often genuinely unsettling, despite Show's overall lighthearted tone. Visual storytelling reinforces themes, like how Bill's geometric form contrasts with organic curves of other characters, representing his fundamentally alien nature. Stan and Ford being identical except for minor details shows how small differences lead to divergent paths. Show's humor operates at multiple levels, providing entertainment for different ages simultaneously. Kids laugh at physical comedy and silly jokes. Adults catch references to other media and appreciate more sophisticated wordplay. This layered approach respects audiences' varying levels of knowledge and experience, ensuring Show works for intended child audience while giving adults reason to engage seriously. Humor never undermines emotional moments or serious themes. Show knows when to be funny and when to be sincere, maintaining tonal balance that prevents whiplash while keeping mood dynamic. Gravity Falls' influence on subsequent animated shows demonstrates its impact on medium. Steven Universe, Amphibia, The Owl House, and others learned from Gravity Falls' combination of episodic adventures and serialized mystery. Its willingness to trust young audiences with complex narratives, its integration of LGBTQ representation and diverse characters. Show-proved animation could tell sophisticated stories that appeal to all ages, that mystery boxes and planned endings create satisfying narratives, that children's media can explore genuine philosophy and emotion. Legacy extends beyond direct imitations to general raising of standards for what animated shows can achieve. Show's treatment of trust and betrayal through various character relationships explores how trust is built, broken, and sometimes repaired. Stan lies to everyone for 30 years, betraying their trust even though his motives were ultimately good. Dipper feels betrayed when he learns truth, but understanding Stan's reasons allows forgiveness, suggesting trust can be rebuilt through honesty and demonstrated change. Ford's trust in Bill was misplaced, teaching him that intelligence doesn't prevent manipulation, that everyone is vulnerable to being used. Mabel's trust in people sometimes makes her naive, but Show doesn't punish her for it. Her willingness to trust is strength, even when occasionally exploited. Show suggests trust is risk worth taking, that meaningful relationships require vulnerability even knowing you might be hurt. Gravity Falls' approach to power and responsibility examines who should have power and how power should be used. Bill has immense power but no moral constraints, using his abilities purely for own amusement and domination. Ford has significant power through knowledge and inventions, but his irresponsible use of that power nearly destroyed everything. Stan has little official power but uses what influence he has to protect people he cares about. Show suggests power without wisdom or compassion is dangerous, that having abilities creates obligations to use them responsibly. Most trustworthy characters are those who don't seek power for its own sake, but accept responsibility when circumstances require it. Shows exploration of masculinity through male characters, provides alternative models to traditional tough guy archetypes. Stan is tough and capable, but also deeply emotional, crying openly when moved. His masculinity includes tenderness toward children and willingness to sacrifice himself for others. Ford is intellectual and somewhat socially awkward. Showing masculinity doesn't require physical dominance or emotional stoicism. Seuss is gentle, kind, and nurturing, comfortable with feelings and relationships. Dipper struggles with insecurity about being man enough, but his arc teaches him that masculinity isn't about meeting arbitrary standards. Being a good person matters more than being stereotypically masculine. Show presents healthy masculinity as including emotional awareness, caring for others, and accepting help. Gravity Falls' treatment of femininity through female characters similarly avoids limiting stereotypes. Mabel is feminine in conventional ways, loving pink and sparkles and romance, but also tough and capable in adventures. Wendy is more tomboyish, but still emotionally intelligent and caring. Female characters are never punished for being feminine or for being unfeminine. They're allowed to be individuals with varying interests and personalities. Show suggests femininity and masculinity are valid ways of being, but shouldn't constrain who people are or what they're capable of. Girls can be silly and serious, tough and tender. Pacifica's redemption arc demonstrates that people can change when they recognize their behavior is wrong and choose differently. She starts as stereotypical mean girl from wealthy family, looking down on others and maintaining status through cruelty, but through interactions with Mabel and experiencing genuine friendship, she recognizes her behavior comes from parents' expectations rather than her true nature. She chooses to be kinder even when it costs her social standing. Show demonstrates that change is possible when people examine their values and make conscious choices to do better, that your background doesn't have to determine who you become. Series explores identity formation in adolescence through how characters discover who they are. Dipper defines himself through pursuing mysteries and trying to be mature, sometimes at cost of enjoying childhood. His journey involves accepting that he doesn't have to rush growing up, that being kid with interests and insecurities is valid identity. Mabel explores identity through constantly trying new activities and personas, which appears flighty, but is actually healthy experimentation. She's figuring out who she is by testing possibilities. By series end, she's more confident in herself without needing to prove anything. Identity formation continues through adulthood, as shown through Stan and Ford, who spent decades defining themselves in opposition to each other, before learning they could both be valid people with different strengths. Gravity Falls uses supernatural elements to externalize internal struggles characters face. Bill represents temptation of shortcuts and easy answers. Gremloblin forces people to see their worst nightmares, externalizing fear. Shapeshifter takes forms of people's desires and fears. These creatures make psychological concepts tangible and visible, allowing Show to explore complex emotional territory through concrete adventures. When Dipper faces his clones, he's really confronting his own insecurities about inadequacy. When Mabel enters Bubble Prison, tailored to her desires, she's confronting her fear of change and growing up. Supernatural becomes a vehicle for examining very real human experiences. Show's treatment of small-town life captures both appeal and limitations of close-knit communities. Everyone knows everyone, which creates support networks, but also means your business is never private. Small-town setting allows Show to have recurring characters who develop over time rather than endless parade of one-off appearances. Familiarity breeds both comfort and friction. Same people you see every day can be annoying neighbors and trusted friends simultaneously. Gravity Falls, as place, becomes character itself, town with personality shaped by its strange history and current inhabitants. Show explores how places shape people who live there and how people shape their communities. Mystery Shack represents American roadside attraction culture, those weird tourist traps that promise amazing sights and deliver questionable taxidermy. Stan's business model exploits tourist desire for mystery and wonder while delivering cheap tricks. But Shack also represents something genuine, family business that becomes home, place where strange things actually do happen, even if advertised attractions are fake. Building contains real mysteries beneath its commercial exterior, much like Stan himself has depths beneath his conman persona. Show's use of codes and hidden messages in credits and backgrounds rewards careful viewing. creating community of fans who decode secrets together. This interactive element extends show's mystery-solving premise beyond characters to audience. Viewers become investigators piecing together clues creators planted. Easter eggs and hidden messages respect audience intelligence, assuming viewers are paying attention and enjoy puzzles. This approach builds investment and encourages rewatching. As new details emerge on subsequent viewings, Gravity Falls demonstrates that mystery and discovery can be communal experiences, not just individual ones. Journal 3, as plot device, represents pursuit of knowledge and its consequences. Ford filled journals with discoveries about Gravity Falls' weirdness, creating invaluable resource, but also dangerous instruction manual. Knowledge contained in journals is neither purely good nor bad. It depends on how it's used. Dipper uses journal to solve mysteries and help people. Bill wants journal to further his plans for domination. Same information serves different purposes based on users' intentions. Show suggests knowledge is a tool that gains moral character through application. Pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, as Ford demonstrated, can become obsessive and destructive when divorced from ethical considerations or concern for consequences. Summer setting provides specific time frame that heightens stakes naturally. Limited time before school starts creates deadline for adventures and character development. Impermanence of summer makes experiences feel more precious. Characters know this time is temporary, which makes them appreciate it more even as they sometimes take it for granted. Summer represents childhood itself, magical time that feels endless while you're in it, but passes quickly in retrospect. Show uses seasonal metaphor to explore how we experience time differently at different ages. How moments that seem minor in present become treasured memories later. Twins' codependency issues form crucial character arc across series. They've always had each other, which provided security, but also prevented them from developing independent identities. Dipper sometimes resents being seen as part of a unit rather than individual. Mabel fears separation because Dipper is her security. Their relationship is genuinely loving, but also somewhat unhealthy in its mutual dependence. Weirdmageddon forces them to confront this, when Mabel's fear of growing apart leads her to trap them in fantasy. Resolution requires them to stay close, while also accepting they're separate people who will have different experiences. Healthy love between siblings means supporting each other's growth even when it's scary. Grunkle Stan's carnival barker personality masks his protective instincts and genuine care for family. His whole presentation is designed to keep people at distance while simultaneously drawing them in as customers. He performs confidence and callousness to hide vulnerability. Stan learned early that showing weakness invites exploitation, so he developed persona of invulnerability. But this mask prevents genuine connection until he lets family see his real self. His character demonstrates costs of emotional armor, how protecting yourself from being hurt also prevents you from being truly known. When he finally drops pretense, relationships deepen even though being vulnerable is terrifying. Ford's idealism and naivety about his own exceptionalism made him vulnerable to Bill's manipulation. He believed he was special, chosen for greatness, which Bill exploited by confirming those beliefs. Ford wanted to be important so badly that he ignored warning signs about Bill's true nature. His arc involves learning that being smart doesn't make you immune to manipulation, that everyone has blind spots, especially about themselves. Ford must accept he's not as special as he thought, which paradoxically makes him a better person. Recognizing your ordinariness is humbling but necessary for wisdom. Show's approach to romance avoids making it central plot, while still treating it as an important part of characters' lives. Dipper's crush on Wendy is significant to him, even though relationship isn't viable due to age difference. Show treats his feelings seriously without mocking them, or suggesting they're meaningless just because he's young. Wendy handles situation with kindness, validating his feelings while maintaining appropriate boundaries. Their friendship, after Dipper accepts they won't be romantic, is genuine, showing that unrequited feelings don't have to destroy relationships. Mabel's various crushes are treated with similar respect. Her romantic interests are age-appropriate and generally healthy, even when they don't work out. Show normalizes romantic feelings as part of growing up without suggesting kids need to be in relationships, or that romance defines their worth. Mystery trio of Stan, Ford, and Fiddleford represents different responses to discovering world is stranger than it appears. Ford embraced weirdness and studied it obsessively. Fiddleford tried to forget through memory gun because knowledge was too disturbing. Stan ignored supernatural elements mostly, focusing on practical survival. Their divergent paths show there's no single correct way to handle discovering reality is more complex than you thought. Each approach has costs and benefits. Ford gained knowledge but lost human connection. Fiddleford lost himself trying to escape. Stan stayed grounded but missed understanding. Perhaps wisdom lies in balance they never achieved individually, accepting strangeness without being consumed by it. Cipher Wheel represents unity and cooperation as answer to Bill's individualistic chaos. Each symbol corresponds to person, but Wheel only works when all symbols join together. No single person can defeat Bill. Only collective action succeeds. This directly counters Bill's philosophy that connections make you weak. Show demonstrates that community and cooperation are sources of strength, that we accomplish together what we cannot achieve alone. Wheel also represents accepting help and working with people who are different from you. Members of Wheel include people who don't always get along, but who put aside differences to face common threat. Society of the Blind Eye storyline explores how communities deal with trauma and uncomfortable truths. Gravity Falls citizens repeatedly encountered supernatural events that challenged their understanding of reality. Rather than process these experiences, secret society erased memories to maintain comfortable ignorance. This represents broader human tendency to avoid disturbing information, to choose comfort over truth. But erased memories don't eliminate trauma. They just make it impossible to process or learn from. Fiddleford's deterioration shows costs of repeated memory erasure. How trying to forget painful things destroys you more surely than facing them would. Show suggests truth is better than comfortable lies, even when truth is difficult. Shack's various rooms and hidden areas represent layers of secrets within secrets. Building appears simple from outside, but contains multi-dimensional portal, secret passages, and Ford's underground laboratory. Physical space mirrors Stan's psychological space, presenting simple exterior while hiding complexity within. Revealing these spaces parallels, revealing Stan's true history and motivations. Show uses architecture metaphorically, suggesting people and places both have hidden depths that reward exploration. What appears simple on surface often contains whole worlds of complexity beneath. Time Baby and Time Paradox, Avoidance Enforcement Squadron represent an attempt to maintain order and timeline, preventing paradoxes that could unravel causality. But their rigid enforcement creates own problems. Blendon Blandon becomes sympathetic despite being antagonist because his life was ruined by minor temporal violation. Time Baby's destruction during Weirdmageddon shows that even cosmic authority figures can be defeated, that no power is absolute. Show's treatment of time travel acknowledges complexity and potential paradoxes while using it selectively for story purposes rather than building entire premise around it. Waddles the Pig represents Mabel's capacity for love and responsibility. She wins him at fair and immediately bonds with him completely. Waddles becomes her constant companion, source of comfort and responsibility she takes seriously. Her relationship with Waddles shows her nurturing side, how she cares for dependent creature without resentment. When Dipper creates timeline where Mabel never wins Waddles, she's devastated, revealing how important this relationship is to her identity and happiness. Dipper's choice to restore timeline, even though it costs him relationship with Wendy, shows he values his sister's happiness over his own desires. Waddles becomes symbol of love and sacrifice within family. McGucket's tragedy demonstrates how genius without support system leads to destruction. He was a brilliant inventor whose partnership with Ford could have accomplished amazing things. But isolation, fear, and trauma broke him. His descent into madness wasn't inevitable. With different choices, different support, different coping mechanisms, he might have thrived. His eventual recovery with help from his son shows that even severe damage can heal with proper support and care. Show suggests mental illness and trauma are treatable, that people aren't permanently broken, that community and connection facilitate healing. Northwest Family represents old money, inherited privilege, and how wealth concentrates power across generations. They've controlled Gravity Falls for over a century, shaping town to benefit themselves. Pacifica was raised to believe she's superior because of family name and wealth. Her redemption involves recognizing that inherited status doesn't make you better than others, that true worth comes from choices and character. Show critiques class systems that concentrate power and create entitled attitudes. Northwest Manor's ghost represents sins of fathers being visited on children, how past injustices haunt present. Preston Northwest broke promise to common people who helped build his wealth. Ghost returns to exact vengeance on his descendants. Pacifica must break cycle by acknowledging wrong and opening gates as should have been done originally. Shows suggest you can't escape consequences of ancestral wrongdoing, but you can choose to make different choices going forward, to acknowledge harm and try to repair it. Bill's backstory revealed in supplementary materials shows he destroyed his own dimension, perhaps accidentally, making him refugee from reality he annihilated. This adds tragic dimension to his villainy. He's not just evil for evil's sake. He's broken being trying to escape or forget what he did by creating chaos in other dimensions. His desire to party and cause mayhem might be distraction from unbearable guilt or grief. Show suggests even villains have origins and motivations, though understanding them doesn't excuse actions. Bill chose to become monster rather than face his pain. Weirdness magnetism concept explains why supernatural phenomena concentrate in Gravity Falls. Something about location attracts strangeness. This provides in-universe explanation for why so many weird things happen in one small town, maintaining internal logic while allowing variety of supernatural elements. Magnetism suggests weirdness seeks weirdness, that like attracts like. Gravity Falls became weird because it was already slightly weird, creating feedback loop. This mirrors how communities develop characters, how certain types of people and events cluster in. Specific places shows final message about growing up centers on accepting change while maintaining connections that matter. Dipper and Mabel don't stop being twins or best friends, but they accept they can't stay children forever. In literal magical bubble, they choose reality with its pain and complexity over comfortable fantasy. Summer ends, they return home. But bonds they've formed and growth they've experienced remain permanent. Show rejects idea that growing up means losing magic or wonder. It means integrating those experiences into broader, more complex understanding of life. Gravity Falls attracted viewers across age groups because it operated on multiple levels simultaneously. Children enjoyed surface adventure and humor. Adults recognized deeper themes about family dysfunction, existential dread, and loss of innocence. Show didn't condescend to younger viewers or bore older ones. It trusted intelligence of entire audience, rewarding attention and rewatching with hidden details and layered meanings. Codes at end of credits, hidden messages in background, interconnected mysteries created engagement beyond passive viewing. Fans became active participants, decoding ciphers, developing theories, analyzing evidence. This transformed consumption into collaborative investigation. Creator Alex Hirsch planned finite story from beginning, rare decision in television, where success usually means indefinite continuation. He knew where story would end before first episode aired. This allowed tight plotting, careful foreshadowing, and satisfying resolution. Every element served larger narrative. Nothing was random or filler. Finite structure meant stakes felt real, because show could actually end, characters could actually change, consequences could stick. Many shows fear change because they need reset button for next season. Gravity Falls embraced change as core theme, showing characters genuinely transformed by experiences. Mystery Shack itself functions as liminal space between normal and supernatural. It's tourist trap selling fake magic to gullible visitors, but real magic happens in basement, in forest, in hidden spaces. Stand profits from people's desire for wonder, while knowing real wonder is dangerous and hidden. This creates ironic commentary on how we consume strangeness. Tourists want safe, packaged version of weird. They buy snow globes and t-shirts, never suspecting actual supernatural threats exist miles away. Mystery Shack commercializes and domesticates weirdness, making it harmless entertainment. Meanwhile, genuine mysteries threaten reality itself. Stan's mullet represents his working class identity and refusal to conform to respectability politics. He's not trying to impress anyone or fit into polite society. Mullet is practical, low maintenance, and doesn't care what you think. It's perfect visual shorthand for character who lives by own rules. When we see young Stan with different hairstyle, It emphasizes how life circumstances hardened him into person we know. Mullet isn't just joke, it's character statement. Wendy represents transitional figure between childhood and adulthood. She's teenager with job, responsibilities, and independence, but still lives at home and hasn't fully launched into adult life. Dipper's crush on her symbolizes his desire to skip ahead, to be older and cooler than he is. Wendy likes Dipper, but recognizes age gap makes romance inappropriate. She becomes mentor figure instead, teaching him about navigating social situations and not taking everything so seriously. Her laid-back attitude contrasts with Dipper's intensity, showing different valid approaches to life. Wendy's friend group shows teenagers creating chosen family outside biological relatives. They hang out constantly, support each other, and have their own hierarchies and dynamics. Show depicts teenage social world accurately without mockery. These relationships matter intensely to people living through them, even if adults dismiss them as temporary. Wendy's friends accept Dipper into group despite age difference, showing kindness and inclusion. They're not mean popular kids, they're just regular teenagers trying to figure things out. Manly Dan, Wendy's father, embodies hypermasculinity taken to absurd extreme. He expresses emotions through violence and property destruction. He works as lumberjack, most stereotypically masculine occupation possible. But show reveals this performance of masculinity is limiting and sometimes ridiculous. When Dan cries, it's treated as humanizing moment rather than weakness. Show gently mocks toxic masculinity while acknowledging real men have feelings they shouldn't suppress. Dan loves his daughter fiercely, even if he expresses it through gruff protectiveness rather than direct communication. Lazy Susan represents small-town characters surviving on margins of economy. Her diner's local institution, place where everyone knows each other. She's kind, generous, and probably lonely. Her various ailments and mishaps are played for comedy, but underlying sadness exists in character, who seems isolated despite being surrounded by community. Stan's brief romantic interest in her shows both characters seeking connection in middle age, trying to find companionship after years alone. Mayor Tyler represents incompetent local government. He's child in position of power because Gravity Falls is too weird for normal political structures. His youth prevents him from effectively governing, but nobody seems bothered by this. It's just another strange aspect of Strange Town. Show satirizes small-town politics where personal relationships matter more than qualifications, where bizarre situations become normalized through repetition. Toby Determined embodies failed ambition and desperate desire for recognition. He wants to be real journalist, but works for dying newspaper in town where nothing newsworthy happens, or rather where newsworthy things happen constantly but nobody believes them. His unrequited obsession with Chandra shows how loneliness can manifest as inappropriate persistence. He's pathetic, but also sympathetic, someone who never got what he wanted from life and doesn't know how to adjust expectations. Blendin Blandin, time traveler from future, represents bureaucratic authority taken to cosmic scale. Time Anomaly Removal Crew monitors timeline for unauthorized changes, treating time travel as regulatory issue requiring paperwork. This comedic premise becomes surprisingly effective at exploring time travel paradoxes and consequences. Blendin's grudge against twins for ruining his life shows how small actions ripple through time, creating unintended consequences. His eventual manipulation by Bill demonstrates how resentment makes people vulnerable to exploitation. Multi-Bear embodies rejection of imposed identity. Other bears expect him to be fierce and violent, but he prefers listening to soft rock and being gentle. He's literally multiple bears in one body, suggesting multitudes within single identity. Dipper must defeat him to prove manhood according to Manitor's standards, but defeating him would mean forcing Multi-Bear to be something he's not. Dipper's choice to spare him and accept Manitor's disapproval shows moral growth, choosing compassion over conformity. Show's humor balances different comedic styles effectively. Physical comedy, wordplay, absurdist humor, character-based comedy, and satirical humor all coexist without feeling disjointed. Jokes work on multiple levels, with visual gags in background, rewarding attentive viewers. References to other media and real-world events ground show in specific cultural moment, while remaining accessible to viewers unfamiliar with references. Humor never undercuts emotional moments. Show knows when to be funny and when to be serious, trusting audience to handle tonal shifts. Animation style combines simple character designs with detailed backgrounds, creating visual contrast that makes characters pop while establishing rich world. Gravity Falls forest feels dense and mysterious, full of hidden details and lurking dangers. Mystery Shack is cluttered with bizarre objects that tell stories about Stan's past and current cons. Character designs are distinctive and expressive, allowing for broad physical comedy while maintaining emotional authenticity during dramatic scenes. Voice acting elevates writing through committed performances. Jason Ritter voices Dipper with perfect mix of earnestness and insecurity. Kristen Schaal gives Mabel manic energy and genuine warmth. Alex Hirsch voices multiple characters, including Stan and Seuss, differentiating them through distinct vocal choices. Guest actors bring enthusiasm to one-off characters, treating roles as significant rather than mere paycheck work. Voice direction ensures comedic timing lands, while emotional scenes resonate authentically. Music by Brad Breek establishes tone through opening theme that's catchy, mysterious, and slightly unsettling. Episode scores enhance mood without overwhelming scenes. Show uses music sparingly, allowing silence and ambient sound to create atmosphere. Musical moments like Mabel's boy band fantasy, or various songs scattered throughout series show, range from parody to genuine emotion. Music supports storytelling without becoming distraction. Color palette uses warm tones for Mystery Shack interior, cool blues and greens for forest, and harsh industrial colors for underground facilities. Lighting shifts dramatically between day and night, with nighttime scenes feeling genuinely dark and threatening. Show isn't afraid to use shadows and limited visibility to create tension. Visual effects for supernatural elements blend seamlessly with standard animation, making magic feel integrated into world rather than special effect imposed upon it. Mystery and horror elements work because show earns its scares. Early episodes establish rules and atmosphere before introducing serious threats. By time Bill appears, viewers understand stakes and believe danger is real. Show uses horror tropes intelligently, subverting expectations while respecting genre conventions. Monsters are genuinely creepy without being so frightening they alienate young viewers. Balance between scary and safe allows show to create real tension while remaining appropriate for target demographic. Serialized storytelling rewards long-term viewers while remaining accessible to casual viewers. Early episodes function as standalone adventures, but details and character development accumulate. By final season, show assumes familiarity with characters and ongoing mysteries, allowing deeper exploration without constant exposition. This respects audience intelligence and time investment. Viewers who pay attention get richer experience, but those watching casually still enjoy individual episodes. Fandom response demonstrated hunger for this type of content. Fans created extensive theories, artwork, fan fiction, and analysis. They gathered online to discuss new episodes, decode hidden messages, and speculate about future developments. This active engagement extended show's life beyond broadcast, creating community around shared investment in story. Hirsch interacted with fandom, acknowledging theories and occasionally dropping hints, fostering collaborative relationship between creator and audience. Show's ending sparked debate about whether it was too soon or perfectly timed. Some fans wanted more seasons exploring other mysteries or following characters into future. Others appreciated clean conclusion that respected story's natural endpoint. Hirsch's decision to end on his terms rather than continuing until cancellation meant show maintained quality throughout run. No awkward declining seasons, no jumping shark, no betrayal of core themes. Story told itself completely then stopped. Legacy includes influence on subsequent animated series that adopted serialized storytelling and complex themes. Steven Universe, Amphibia, The Owl House, and other shows built on foundation Gravity Falls helped establish, proving audiences would embrace continuity and emotional depth in animation. Industry-learned shows could be intelligent, weird, and emotionally sophisticated while remaining commercially successful and appropriate for younger viewers. Academic analysis of show explores themes through various theoretical lenses. Scholars examine family dynamics, gender representation, class commentary, and how show navigates childhood and adolescence. Gravity Falls becomes text for discussing larger cultural questions about growing up in America, about family structures, about access to knowledge and power. Show rewards serious analysis while never losing sight of entertainment value. Representation in show includes strong female characters who aren't defined by relationships with male characters. Mabel is a complete person with own desires, fears, and growth arc. Wendy is competent and independent. Pacifica transforms from antagonist to ally through own choices. Show passes Bechdel test regularly, with female characters discussing topics beyond men. While show could have done more with racial diversity, it treats all characters with respect and dignity. Disability representation appears through McGucket, whose mental illness is treated seriously rather than just joke. His recovery demonstrates mental health conditions are treatable, that people deserve compassion and support rather than abandonment. Show doesn't exploit his condition for cheap laughs, instead showing how trauma affects people and how healing is possible with help. Class consciousness runs throughout show's examination of wealth and power. Northwest represent old money's corruption and sense of entitlement. Stan represents working class hustle and making do with limited resources. Show sides clearly with working people against inherited privilege, showing how wealth concentrates power and corrupts values. But it also shows individuals can reject class conditioning, can choose to be better than their raising. Environmental themes emerge through show's setting in Pacific Northwest forest. Ancient supernatural forces connect to land itself, suggesting nature has power and mystery beyond human understanding. Logging, development, and human encroachment threaten natural spaces and awaken forces that should remain undisturbed. Show doesn't preach environmentalism explicitly, but presents nature as worthy of respect and protection. Technology appears as a double-edged sword. Ford's advanced devices enable exploration, but also create dangers. Modern technology like phones and computers exist in shows present, but don't dominate as they might realistically. This allows characters to have adventures without constant connectivity, undercutting tension. Show acknowledges technology's presence without letting it solve every problem or complicate every scenario. Gravity Falls balances nostalgia for past with acknowledgement that past wasn't perfect. Stan's memories of childhood show hardship alongside adventure. Characters remember good old days while recognizing present has its own value. Show doesn't idealize any particular era, instead suggesting every time has challenges and opportunities. What matters is how you respond to circumstances, not which era you live in. Redemption remains possible for nearly every character. Pacifica overcomes conditioning and becomes a better person. Gideon gets chance at redemption even after terrible choices. McGucket recovers and reconnects with Sun. Show believes people can change, can grow beyond their worst moments. This optimistic view of human nature balances darker elements and traumatic themes. Even damaged people deserve compassion and opportunity to improve. Mystery Trio's tragedy lies in how close they came to success before everything fell apart. Stan, Ford, and McGucket could have changed the world together, could have been a legendary team of adventurers and inventors. Instead, paranoia, jealousy, and misunderstanding destroyed their partnership. By the time they reunite decades later, they've lost years they can't recover. Show mourns lost potential while celebrating their eventual reconciliation. Show's treatment of death and loss demonstrates sophistication rare for children's animation. When characters die or disappear, consequences feel real and lasting. Show doesn't resurrect everyone conveniently or erase trauma. Stan's memory loss affects entire family even after recovery. McGucket's decades of mental illness can't be completely undone. Time lost stays lost. Relationships broken take real work to repair. This honesty about consequences makes stakes feel genuine throughout series. Parallel dimensions and alternate timelines explore what might have been. Maybelline shows Mabel's ideal world where nothing changes and summer never ends. This fantasy reveals her fears about growing up and losing current happiness. Other timelines show darker possibilities, worlds where different choices led to catastrophe. These glimpses of alternative realities emphasize importance of choices made in main timeline, showing how easily things could have gone wrong. Show's humor ranges from sophisticated wordplay to physical comedy to dark jokes that sail over younger viewers' heads. Grunkle Stan's one-liners work on multiple levels. Background gags reward careful viewing and freeze framing. Show trusts audience to catch jokes without explaining them. Some humor comes from character interactions rather than set-up punchline structure. Natural banter between twins feels authentic to how siblings actually talk. Show balances comedy with drama without letting either undercut the other. Body horror appears surprisingly often for children's show. Shapeshifters' transformations are genuinely disturbing. Bill's threats involve body modification and possession that feel invasive and violating. These horror elements never feel gratuitous, but serve story purposes. They raise stakes and create genuine fear while remaining appropriate for target audience. Show proves children's media can include scary content without being traumatizing if handled with care and purpose. Trust issues complicate nearly every relationship in show. Dipper trusts wrong people and doubts right ones. Mabel's trusting nature gets exploited by Bill. Stan's lies damage family bonds. Ford's paranoia prevents him from accepting help. Characters must learn when to trust, when to verify, when to take leaps of faith. Show explores how trust is earned, maintained, and repaired after being broken. Process isn't simple or quick. Real trust takes time and consistent behavior to develop. Sacrifice defines heroic moments throughout series. Stan sacrifices memory to save world. Ford sacrifices pride to ask for help. Dipper sacrifices apprenticeship to stay with sister. These sacrifices cost characters something real and valuable. Show doesn't make sacrifice easy or painless. Characters struggle with decisions, mourn what they're giving up, and live with consequences. But they make sacrifices anyway because some things matter more than personal gain. Knowledge in show is power, but also burden. Knowing too much isolates Ford from normal life. McGuckett's inventions come from brilliant mind that eventually can't handle what it discovers. Dipper's obsession with mysteries sometimes blinds him to present moment. Show questions whether knowing everything is actually desirable. Some mysteries perhaps should remain mysteries. Some knowledge comes at cost, not worth paying. Wisdom involves knowing what to pursue and what to leave alone. Coming of age happens gradually across 2 summers rather than in single moment. Twins don't transform suddenly into adults. They grow through accumulated experiences, mistakes, and lessons. By series' end, they're still children, but more mature children who've learned important things about themselves and world. Show portrays development as process rather than event, showing how people become who they are through countless small moments rather than dramatic revelations. Animation quality improves noticeably as series progresses. Early episodes have simpler character designs and less detailed backgrounds. Later episodes feature more complex animation, subtle facial expressions, and elaborate action sequences. This evolution reflects growing budget and teams' increasing confidence. Final episodes look significantly better than pilot while maintaining consistent character designs and art style. Improvement shows craft and care put into show's production. Voice acting brings characters to life with remarkable performances. Jason Ritter captures Dipper's earnest intensity and growing confidence. Kristen Schaal makes Mabel energetic without being annoying. Alex Hirsch voices multiple characters distinctively, including Stan and Bill. Guest stars like J.K. Simmons as Ford and Nathan Fillion as Preston Northwest deliver memorable performances. Voice work sells emotional moments and makes comedy land. Actors clearly understand characters and commit fully to roles. Music enhances atmosphere and emotion throughout series. Opening theme immediately establishes mysterious, adventurous tone. Background music during emotional scenes amplifies feelings without overwhelming dialogue. Action sequences get pulse-pounding scores. Whimsical moments have appropriately playful soundtracks. Show uses silence effectively too, letting moments breathe without constant musical accompaniment. Sound design overall creates rich audio landscape that supports storytelling. Foreshadowing appears throughout series for viewers paying attention. Background details in early episodes become significant later. Casual mentions of Ford before his reveal plant seeds for later developments. Bill's manipulations begin subtly and before becoming overt threat. Show rewards attentive viewing and repeat watching reveals how carefully plotted overall story is. Nothing important happens without setup. Payoffs feel earned because groundwork was laid properly. Fan engagement with show-created active community that enhanced viewing experience. Viewers decoded ciphers, analyzed clues, developed theories, and created art. Alex Hirsch and crew acknowledged fans through social media and embedded messages. This interaction between creators and audience built investment beyond just watching show. Fans felt part of a larger mystery-solving community. Show's conclusion satisfied most fans while leaving room for interpretation and continued discussion. Merchandising remained relatively modest compared to other children's properties. Show never felt like extended toy commercial. Products that did exist served fans who wanted them rather than driving creative decisions. This restraint kept Show's integrity intact. Stories served narrative rather than marketing requirements. Characters weren't designed to sell products. Show succeeded on quality rather than merchandise tie-ins. Cultural impact extended beyond immediate viewership. Show influenced other animated series to embrace serialized storytelling and complex mysteries. It demonstrated children's media could be sophisticated without talking down to audience. References to Show appear in other media. Fans continue creating content years after finale. Show proved animation could tell complete story with definite ending, rather than running indefinitely until cancellation. Ending Show after 2 seasons was deliberate creative choice rather than network decision. Hirsch planned finite story and told it completely. This decision gave series proper conclusion rather than petering out or getting canceled on cliffhanger. Show respects audience by delivering complete narrative. Everything established gets resolved. Every character arc completes. Ending feels neither rushed nor dragged out, but exactly right length for story being told. Rewatchability remains high because Show operates on multiple levels. First viewing focuses on surface plot and mysteries. Subsequent viewings reveal foreshadowing, background gags, and subtle character moments. Show rewards analysis without requiring it for basic enjoyment. Casual viewers and obsessive fans both find satisfaction. This accessibility combined with depth makes Show work for broad audience while maintaining artistic vision. Theme of Summers Impermanence runs through entire series. Twins know their time in Gravity Falls is limited. Every episode brings them closer to returning home. This ticking clock adds urgency and melancholy to their adventures. Show captures feeling of childhood summers that seem infinite while happening, but feel brief in retrospect. Bittersweet quality emerges from knowing good times must end, even as characters try to make them last forever. Masculinity appears in multiple forms through different characters. Stan represents tough working-class masculinity that hides vulnerability. Ford shows intellectual masculinity that struggles with emotional expression. Suze demonstrates gentle masculinity comfortable with feelings. Show doesn't present one version as correct, but shows masculine characters can express emotions and form connections without losing masculine identity. Healthy masculinity involves emotional honesty and caring relationships. Femininity similarly appears in varied forms. Mabel embraces traditionally feminine interests without being weak or helpless. Wendy combines toughness with emotional intelligence. Pacifica learns feminine identity doesn't require cruelty or superiority. Show lets female characters be fully realized people rather than types. Femininity and strength coexist naturally without contradiction. Characters define their own identities rather than conforming to restrictive gender expectations. Power corrupts throughout series. Bill's power makes him cruel and destructive. Preston Northwest's wealth makes him callous. Even Ford's intellectual superiority breeds arrogance. Show questions whether anyone can handle significant power without it changing them for worse. Characters with power must consciously choose not to abuse it. Power itself isn't evil, but it reveals and amplifies existing character flaws. Staying good while powerful requires constant effort and self-awareness. Forgiveness proves difficult but necessary for moving forward. Stan and Ford must forgive each other for decades of mutual resentment. Pacifica must forgive herself for past behavior. McGucket needs forgiveness from those he hurt while mentally ill. Show doesn't make forgiveness automatic or easy. Characters work through justified anger and hurt before reaching forgiveness. But grudges and bitterness ultimately harm those holding them more than their targets. Letting go enables healing. Legacy matters to multiple characters. Stan wants to be remembered as good person despite checkered past. Ford wants scientific legacy. Bill wants to reshape reality permanently. McGucket seeks redemption for squandered genius. Show explores what people leave behind and how they'll be remembered. Characters' anxiety about legacy drives both positive and negative choices. Ultimately, Show suggests legacy matters less than present actions and current relationships. Mental health themes recur throughout series. Stan's isolation and defensive humor mask deep loneliness. Ford's paranoia and obsession show brilliant mind-turning on itself. McGucket's breakdown demonstrates trauma's lasting effects. Show treats mental health seriously while remaining appropriate for young viewers. It shows mental struggles aren't character flaws but conditions requiring understanding and treatment. Recovery is possible but not instantaneous. Support systems and professional help matter. Addiction appears through Stan's compulsive lying and gambling, Ford's obsession with mysteries, and McGucket's dependence on memory gun. These behaviors serve as coping mechanisms for pain or inadequacy. Characters use their addictions to avoid dealing with real problems. Breaking these patterns requires confronting underlying issues rather than just stopping behavior. Show portrays addiction sympathetically while showing its destructive effects on addicts and those around them. Isolation damages every character who experiences it. Stan's self-imposed exile from family creates decades of loneliness. Ford's time in other dimensions leaves him disconnected from humanity. McGucket's mental illness isolates him from former friends. Bill's power separates him from any genuine connection. Show argues isolation is fundamentally unhealthy, regardless of reasons for it. Humans need community and connection to thrive. Choosing isolation or being forced into it creates suffering that shapes personality and choices. Chosen family supplements and sometimes replaces biological family. Suze becomes part of Pine's family despite no blood relation. Wendy and her friends form tight group Mystery Shack. Employees create alternative family structure. Show suggests family is defined by bonds and commitment rather than genetics alone. People who show up and care for you are family regardless of legal or biological relationship. This inclusive view of family validates various family structures. Nostalgia appears as both comfort and trap. Stan clings to memories of childhood with Ford. Mabel doesn't want summer to end and tries to freeze time. Suze celebrates Summerween to extend summer feeling. Characters must learn to value past without being trapped by it. Good memories should inspire present, rather than making it impossible to move forward. Show balances, honoring past with embracing change and growth. Ethics of knowledge emerges through Ford's dilemma about sharing portal research. Some knowledge might be too dangerous to spread. Scientific advancement without ethical framework creates risks. Show doesn't provide easy answers about whether some discoveries should be suppressed, or if knowledge should always be pursued regardless of consequences. It raises questions about scientists' responsibility for how their work gets used. Capitalism's effects appear through tourist trap setting. Stan exploits visitors with overpriced junk and fake attractions. Show presents this as survival strategy for a working-class person in economic system that doesn't value him. Tourist trap represents small-scale capitalism where selling worthless items to willing customers is honest living. Show doesn't moralize heavily, but shows economic pressures that drive Stan's choices. Money matters because lacking it creates real problems. Justice versus mercy creates tension when characters decide how to treat enemies. Should Gideon be punished or helped? Does Bill deserve any sympathy? Can Pacifica be trusted after being antagonist? Show generally favors mercy and second chances while acknowledging some actions have consequences that can't be erased. Characters must balance accountability with compassion. Perfect justice might be impossible, but trying to be fair and merciful matters. Performance and authenticity conflict throughout series. Stan performs as a successful businessman while hiding financial struggles. Dipper performs confidence while feeling inadequate. Mabel performs constant cheerfulness while dealing with real anxieties. Characters struggle between showing authentic selves and maintaining protective performances. Show suggests authenticity is healthier, but acknowledges why people hide true selves. Being vulnerable requires courage and trust that not all situations provide. Grief appears through multiple losses. Stan grieves lost relationship with brother. Ford grieves lost years and opportunities. McGucket grieves his lost mind and missing decades. Twins grieve end of summer and childhood innocence. Show portrays grief as natural response to loss rather than problem to solve quickly. Characters process grief differently and on different timelines. Grief changes over time, but doesn't completely disappear. People learn to carry it while continuing to live. Human potential for growth defines series' optimistic core. Nearly every character improves and develops. People aren't fixed in place but capable of change throughout lives. Terrible people can become better. Good people can become kinder. Growth requires effort and often help from others, but remains possible regardless of age or past mistakes. This faith in human capacity for positive change underlies show's emotional resonance and hopeful message despite dark elements. Community building appears throughout series as fundamental human need. Characters create found family through shared experiences and mutual support. Mystery Shack becomes community hub, where misfits gather and belong. Suze finds acceptance. Wendy escapes family pressure. Stan builds surrogate family after losing Forden. Show demonstrates that communities form when people choose each other and commit to showing up. Geographic location matters less than emotional bonds and shared values. Strong communities require work from all members. Series finale demonstrates this when entire town rallies to protect reality. Everyone contributes what they can. Community strength comes from diversity of skills and perspectives working toward common purpose. Power dynamics in relationships receive nuanced treatment. Stan holds power over Suze as employer, but also mentors him. Dipper looks up to Ford but must recognize Ford's flaws. Mabel and Pacifica start with wealth-based power imbalance that shifts as they become friends. Show illustrates how power flows through relationships in complex ways. Having power creates responsibility to use it carefully. Abusing power damages relationships, while sharing power strengthens them. Characters learn that healthy relationships require ongoing negotiation of power rather than fixed hierarchies. Masculinity gets examined through male characters' different expressions of manhood. Stan performs tough guy masculinity while being emotionally vulnerable with family. Ford pursues intellectual achievement as masculine ideal. Suze embodies gentle masculinity that embraces emotions and caring. Dipper struggles with traditional masculine expectations of strength and dominance. Show presents multiple valid ways of being male without ranking them hierarchically. Toxic masculinity appears through Bill's manipulation and Gideon's entitled aggression. Healthy masculinity involves emotional honesty, respect for others, and strength that protects rather than dominates. Femininity receives similar multifaceted treatment through female characters. Mabel embraces traditionally feminine interests without being reduced to them. Wendy rejects feminine expectations while remaining fully herself. Pacifica unlearns performed femininity that served her parents' agenda. Grenda and Candy express femininity in unconventional ways. Show validates all expressions of femininity as equally legitimate. Girls don't need to reject feminine interests to be taken seriously. Being stereotypically girly doesn't make Mabel less intelligent or capable. Show challenges idea that traditionally feminine traits are weakness. Mental health representation stands out as unusually thoughtful for animated series. McGucket's memory loss and trauma receive serious treatment despite comedic framing. Stan's depression and isolation appear beneath gruff exterior. Ford's obsessive tendencies and difficulty with relationships suggest possible neurodivergence. Show doesn't diagnose characters explicitly, but portrays mental health struggles with empathy and nuance. Characters need support rather than fixing. Mental health affects everyone differently. Setting recovery isn't linear and sometimes isn't complete. McGucket regains some functioning, but remains changed by his experiences. Redemption arcs follow consistent philosophy about who deserves second chances and what redemption requires. Characters must acknowledge harm caused, feel genuine remorse, make amends where possible, and change behavior going forward. Pacifica redeems herself by rejecting parents' values and treating people better. McGucket finds partial redemption through helping save town despite being unable to undo past mistakes. Gideon's redemption remains incomplete because his changes seem temporary. Show suggests redemption is possible for most people, but requires real work and change. Simply feeling bad isn't sufficient. Actions must demonstrate transformation. Class consciousness runs throughout series more explicitly than most children's programming. Stan represents working-class person struggling in economic system that favors wealthy. Pacifica represents inherited wealth that provides opportunities regardless of merit. Northwest Family built fortune through fraud and exploitation. Show clearly critiques wealth inequality and how money creates unearned advantages. However, it avoids simplistic rich versus poor framing. Pacifica isn't villain because she's wealthy, but because of how she treats others. Her redemption involves recognizing unearned privilege and using resources to help rather than dominate. Environmental themes emerge subtly through Gravity Falls' supernatural ecosystem. Town exists in balance between human development and weird natural forces. Characters must respect rather than dominate environment. When humans try to control or exploit supernatural elements, consequences follow. Show suggests living in harmony with nature, even strange nature, produces better outcomes than attempting total control. Environmental message stays implicit rather than preachy, but consistently values preservation and respect over exploitation. Technology receives ambivalent treatment reflecting real-world concerns. Ford's portal technology creates disasters. Computers and cameras help solve mysteries but also enable surveillance. Characters benefit from technology while facing its dangers. Show neither embraces technology uncritically nor rejects it entirely. Instead, it suggests technology amplifies existing human tendencies toward good or evil. Tools themselves are neutral. How humans use them determines whether technology helps or harms. This measured perspective acknowledges both benefits and risks of technological advancement. Disability representation appears through McCabot's cognitive impairment and Stan's poor eyesight. Show treats disabilities matter-of-factly, rather than as defining characteristics or inspiration porn. McGucket's mental state results from trauma and choices, but doesn't make him less valuable as person. Stan's vision problems create practical challenges he adapts to. Characters with disabilities are full people whose conditions affect but don't define them. Show avoids both pitying disabled characters and pretending disabilities don't create real challenges. Consent emerges as an important theme, especially regarding mind and body autonomy. Love potions that remove free will are portrayed as violations. Mind control and possession by Bill represent ultimate consent violations. Characters must respect others' boundaries and choices. Dipper learns he can't force Wendy to return his feelings. Mabel learns she can't make Dipper want what she wants. Show consistently emphasizes that people have right to make own choices about bodies, minds, and lives. Violating consent always produces negative consequences. Tradition versus progress creates tension without clear resolution. Stan clings to past while Ford embraces future. Town has traditions worth preserving, but also needs to evolve. Show suggests healthy approach, balances honoring past with openness to change. Some traditions carry wisdom worth maintaining. Others become empty rituals that prevent growth. Characters must evaluate which traditions serve them and which constrain them. Progress isn't automatically good, but neither is tradition automatically valuable. Wisdom lies in choosing carefully what to keep and what to release. Art and creativity receive celebration throughout series. Mabel's crafts, Dipper's journal entries, Seuss's movies, Stan's marketing schemes all represent creative expression that makes life richer. Show validates creativity in all forms, regardless of conventional artistic merit. Making things brings joy and helps people process experiences. Creative expression doesn't require exceptional talent to be worthwhile. Everyone benefits from opportunities to create and share their creations. Art builds community when people share their work and appreciate others' efforts. Humor itself serves philosophical purpose beyond entertainment. Show uses comedy to make difficult topics accessible and to provide relief from darkness. Humor helps characters cope with trauma and fear. Jokes create bonds between characters and between show and audience. However, show also explores humor's limits and potential harm. Bullying masquerading as jokes isn't acceptable. Some situations aren't appropriate for humor. Characters learn when to joke and when to be serious. Comedy and gravity balance throughout series in ways that enhance both. Education gets portrayed as valuable but incomplete. School provides important knowledge and socialization but doesn't teach everything worth knowing. Real learning happens through experience and relationships as much as formal instruction. Dipper and Mabel learn more during summer than they would in classroom. However, show doesn't dismiss formal education as worthless. Rather, it suggests education happens everywhere when people stay curious and open. Ford's extensive education gave him tools, but didn't teach him wisdom about relationships. Stan's lack of formal education didn't prevent him from learning what he needed to know. Heroism in series differs from traditional action hero model. Heroes aren't people with special powers who defeat enemies through violence. Heroes are ordinary people who show up for others and do right thing despite fear. Stan is hero for sacrificing memory. Dipper is hero for supporting Mabel. Seuss is hero for loyalty to friends. Heroism involves moral courage, compassion, and commitment to others. Anyone can be hero through their choices regardless of strength or special abilities. This democratic view of heroism empowers viewers to see themselves as potential heroes in own lives. Gender roles receive gentle but consistent subversion. Mabel is girly, but tough and capable. Dipper is sensitive, but grows braver. Wendy is strong and independent, but also vulnerable. Stan is masculine, but emotionally available with people he trusts. Show presents gender as performance that people can choose rather than rigid biological destiny. Characters express gender in ways that feel authentic to them, rather than conforming to social expectations. This flexibility around gender helps viewers understand gender as spectrum rather than binary. Legacy and what people leave behind preoccupies several characters. Stan wants to be remembered. Ford wants his work to matter. McGucket's legacy is complicated by harm he caused. Show explores how people create meaning through what they contribute and what they pass on to next generation. Legacy isn't just about fame or achievement, it's about impact on other people's lives. Small acts of kindness create legacy as much as grand accomplishments. Characters who focus on relationships leave stronger legacies than those who prioritize individual achievement. Supernatural as metaphor works throughout series. Weird creatures and phenomena represent psychological and emotional realities. Bill symbolizes toxic relationships and gaslighting. Shapeshifter represents identity confusion. Time anomalies reflect how trauma distorts perception. Using supernatural elements to explore realistic issues makes them accessible to young viewers while maintaining entertainment value. Metaphorical layer adds depth for older viewers who recognize parallels to real experiences. This dual-level storytelling makes show work for multiple age groups simultaneously. Science versus magic receives interesting treatment. Show presence both as real and valid. Ford approaches supernatural scientifically. Mabel accepts magic intuitively. Both approaches have value. Show rejects simplistic science versus superstition binary. Instead, it suggests reality contains elements that science can explain and elements that resist explanation. Maintaining wonder and mystery while pursuing understanding creates richer life than choosing exclusively one worldview. Characters who balance rational thinking with openness to mystery fare better than those who rigidly adhere to single perspective. Courage appears in many forms beyond physical bravery. Emotional courage to be vulnerable requires strength. Moral courage to do right thing when it's unpopular takes bravery. Courage to admit mistakes and change demonstrates strength. Show consistently portrays courage as choice to act despite fear rather than absence of fear. Brave characters feel afraid but act anyway. This realistic portrayal of courage makes it achievable for viewers. You don't need to be fearless, you need to be willing to move forward despite fear. Forgiveness receives nuanced exploration. Characters must decide whether to forgive those who hurt them. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting harm or excusing behavior. It means releasing anger that poisons forgiver. Some characters forgive, others don't. Show respects both choices as valid depending on circumstances. Ford struggles to forgive Stan. Dipper must forgive himself for mistakes. Pacifica needs forgiveness from those she bullied. Forgiveness is gift to oneself as much as the person being forgiven. Holding grudges creates suffering, while forgiveness allows healing. Mystery itself has philosophical significance. Show celebrates questioning and investigating rather than passive acceptance. Characters who stay curious and ask questions understand world better than those who accept surface explanations. Mystery invites engagement with reality. Solving mysteries requires observation, logic, creativity, and collaboration. However, Show also acknowledges some mysteries might not have solutions, or might be better left unsolved. Not everything needs explanation. Some wonder should remain. Balance between investigating mysteries and accepting mystery defines wise approach to life's unanswerable questions. Death gets handled with appropriate seriousness for family show. Characters face mortality and loss. Show doesn't shy away from death's reality, but also doesn't dwell on it gratuitously. Death gives life meaning by making time finite and precious. Characters treasure relationships more because they know they won't last forever. Show suggests healthy relationship with mortality involves acknowledging death's inevitability while focusing on living well. Death isn't tragedy to avoid thinking about. It's a natural part of life that motivates us to make our time matter. Love appears in multiple forms, all treated as equally valuable. Romantic love, familial love, friendship, self-love, all receive attention. Show doesn't privilege romantic love over other forms. Dipper's crush on Wendy isn't more important than his relationship with Mabel. Stan's love for Ford drives Ceres as much as any romance. Seuss's family bonds matter deeply, show presence. Love is force that connects people and gives life meaning regardless of form it takes. The capacity to love and be loved defines human experience more than any other quality. Purpose and meaning emerge as central questions. Characters seek understanding of why they exist and what they should do with lives. Show doesn't provide single answer. Different characters find meaning in different ways. Stan finds meaning in protecting family. Ford finds it in knowledge and discovery. Mabel finds it in relationships and creativity. Show suggests meaning comes from pursuing what matters to you and contributing to something beyond yourself. Meaning isn't discovered but created through choices and commitments. Life has whatever meaning you give it through how you choose to live. Gravity Falls ultimately argues that despite universe's indifference and life's inherent meaninglessness, humans create meaning through relationships, choices, and commitments to each other. Mystery and wonder exist alongside scientific understanding. Darkness and light balance an ongoing dance. People can choose to care for each other even when not required to do so. This choice to create meaning and connection despite cosmic meaninglessness represents highest form of human courage and wisdom. Series ends with twins returning home changed by experiences, carrying lessons learned forward into uncertain future. They've faced darkness and chosen light. They found family worth fighting for, that's enough. Gravity Falls proved that animation could explore genuine philosophical complexity while remaining accessible to all ages. The show demonstrated that children's media doesn't need to simplify or condescend. It can trust young viewers to grapple with difficult questions about meaning, identity, loss, and growth. Through its 2-season run, it built a complete narrative that respected its audience's intelligence and emotional capacity. The series' greatest achievement might be showing how meaning emerges from choice rather than discovery. Bill represented the intellectually honest position that existence lacks inherent purpose. The Pines family represented the emotionally necessary position that we create purpose through commitment and connection. Neither perspective is entirely wrong. The show suggests wisdom lies in acknowledging life's fundamental meaninglessness while choosing to act as if things matter anyway. This existential compromise allows us to live authentically without succumbing to nihilistic despair. What makes Gravity Falls endure beyond its finale is how it balanced entertainment with substance. It never sacrificed fun for philosophy or philosophy for fun. The mystery box structure kept viewers engaged, while character development provided emotional weight. Humor and horror coexisted naturally. The show trusted that depth and accessibility aren't opposites, but complementary qualities that enhance each other when properly balanced. For viewers who grew up with Gravity Falls, the show modeled how to face uncertainty, how to maintain wonder while developing wisdom, how to love people despite knowing you'll eventually lose them. It showed that growing up doesn't mean abandoning imagination or accepting cynicism. Maturity means integrating childhood's openness with adult capability, holding contradictions without resolving them into false certainty. The twins' journey from innocence through experience to hard-won understanding mirrors every viewer's path toward adulthood. The show's influence extends beyond its direct successors in animation. It demonstrated that audiences hunger for stories that respect their intelligence, that reward attention and analysis, that dare to explore darkness while maintaining hope. Gravity Falls proved that finite storytelling with planned endings produces more satisfying narratives than indefinite continuation. Sometimes the bravest creative choice is knowing when to end. Bill Cipher remains compelling because he represents seductive logic that leads to destructive conclusions. He's correct about reality's fundamental nature, but but catastrophically wrong about how to respond to that reality. His philosophy offers liberation from constraints, but delivers only isolation and emptiness. The show uses him to explore what happens when brilliant minds lack wisdom, when understanding exceeds compassion, when freedom becomes untethered from responsibility. He's cautionary tale about letting intellectual positions override human needs. The Mystery Shack stands as perfect metaphor for show's approach. It's tourist trap selling fake mysteries to gullible visitors, while real mysteries unfold hidden in basement and forest. Surface entertainment masks genuine depth. This layering allows show to function on multiple levels simultaneously, satisfying casual viewers and obsessive analysts alike. Some people visit Mystery Shack for cheap thrills and novelty. Others stay to uncover actual secrets. Both experiences are valid. Show accommodates everyone. Stan's arc from conman to hero demonstrates that redemption requires sacrifice and change, not just good intentions. He spent 30 years lying to everyone, but those lies served purpose larger than self-interest. When moment came to prove his growth, he gave up everything, his memories, his identity, his very self. This ultimate sacrifice validates his entire journey and proves that people can change fundamentally when they commit to values beyond themselves. Gravity Falls ended exactly when it should have, told its story completely, and left viewers wanting slightly more rather than growing tired of endless continuation. This restraint demonstrates artistic integrity rare in commercial entertainment. The show belonged to its creator's vision rather than a market demands or network pressure. That creative control produced something that feels whole and finished rather than incomplete or bloated. The journals Dipper carried throughout his adventures represent humanity's attempt to document and understand mystery. We catalog, theorize, and explain, because that's how our minds work. But some mysteries resist explanation. Some questions don't have answers. The wisdom is knowing which mysteries to investigate and which to let remain mysterious. Ford's journals helped characters survive, but also created dangers through knowledge that attracted wrong attention. Information empowers and endangers simultaneously. How we use knowledge matters more than what knowledge we possess. Summer's End brought bittersweet recognition that magical times don't last forever. Dipper and Mabel returned home, changed by experiences they'll carry always. They learned about themselves, each other, and reality's stranger aspects. More importantly, they learned that love and loyalty matter more than any abstract philosophy. Their bond survived tests that would have broken weaker relationships. That's the show's ultimate message. Connection creates meaning in meaningless universe. Choosing to care, despite knowing caring is cosmically unjustified, represents highest human achievement. We're brief patterns in vast, indifferent cosmos, but we're patterns that can recognize and care for other patterns. That recognition, that choice to care anyway, transforms meaninglessness into meaning through sheer, stubborn human will. Gravity Falls asked big questions and provided no easy answers, because easy answers don't exist. It trusted viewers to sit with uncertainty, to accept ambiguity, to find their own meanings. The show modeled thoughtful engagement with life's fundamental mysteries while maintaining humor and heart throughout. It proved that children's animation could be a vehicle for genuine philosophical exploration without becoming preachy or pretentious. Entertainment and enlightenment can coexist when creators respect their audience and trust their material. The series finale closed one chapter while opening others. Stan and Ford sailed off to continue adventures together. Brothers reunited after decades apart. Dipper and Mabel faced 8th grade, armed with confidence earned through surviving actual apocalypse. Gravity Falls remains strange and wonderful, waiting for next curious souls to discover its secrets. Show ended, but world it created persists in imaginations of everyone who visited that weird little town and recognized something true beneath the strangeness.